episode? We're still kind of getting the hang of. No, we're second episode now.
Yes, I did not come back to life just for you to fuck up the continuity. Okay, I'll go die again. I don't want.
No, come back.
I got a foot on the afterlife and I got a foot in the real life. Like, I could just go hang out with Satan.
Maybe you can do that after, you've rewatched Gundam SeeD.
Don't you turn this into like a podcast thing? Don't you segue?
Anyways, hi everyone, welcome to Burnout Culture. The industry sucks and so do we. My name is Kazuma. I'm one of 3 fantastic hosts.
I'm GC. I like to talk a lot.
I'm old and crumpy.
Crumpy?
Crumpy?
I'll crump with you, cranky, and grumpy.
Keep laughing. You keep laughing. And when it comes homework time, I got the CD romance page and I'm looking for violent games.
Oh, please don't. Because this week we do have a theme, everyone, and it is Haterade.
Hatred.
Yeah.
Twisted blood.
Yeah, so I feel like it's appropriate that this week we just talk about the things that we just hated or just really didn't like because of Kendrick Lamar's beef with Drake.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a week of hate.
I like this theme.
In the words of Nick Dunn, maybe I do hate Gone Girl.
You hate Gone Girl?
No, I love Gone Girl.
Then keep it out of here.
Okay, sorry. Christ.
Kazuma's got a contract. There's got to be one Gone Girl reference per podcast episode.
That's true, actually. It's not... if I'm not quoting Gone Girl or Mindhunter, I was kidnapped and replaced.
It's a breach of contract. We'd owe someone money.
Who do we owe money?
GC, bleep this out, but...
GC, bleep this out.
Actually...
GC, bleep this out.
Yeah, I know.
GC, bleep this out.
GC,
bleep this out.
Xbox, boot up Gears of War. Xbox, eliminate Tango Gameworks.
GC, don't bleep this out. Fuck you, Xbox. You can bleep it out if you want. I don't really.
With Xbox, I guess we could just talk about that and like how fucking shitty it is that a company worth $3 trillion let go of a couple game studios to save peanuts on a division that hasn't made profit with the exception of 1 year.
Xbox put thousands of people out of jobs.
It's like, so you guys know that Game Pass like doesn't make money, right? Like it just doesn't make money. Yeah. So for those that don't know, basically Xbox shuttered Arcane Austin and Tango Gameworks and then folded in Roundhouse into the studio that does like ESO and everything Elder goes online. And that's because basically Game Pass isn't making the amount of money that they want it to make anymore because obviously, like everybody at home, working from home during like COVID, a lot of people were subscribing to the service, so revenue was up. It was going up and Xbox was maybe going to make a profit. For those of you that also don't know this, Xbox has historically only made profit 1 year that it has been like alive as like an entity within Xbox, within Microsoft. It's only made a profit 1 year. Other than that, it's just costing Microsoft money. And the reason I mention Game Pass not making money, it's in relation to people will rather subscribe to Game Pass than buy copies of a game. So Microsoft is eating its own face by putting basically games that it publishes and like develops on that service. So they're not making money off of that.
And, of course, all the other obvious things of like being a company that's up, I don't know what their numbers are, but being up a certain amount of numbers and then being down the following years, but that number still being higher than where they were, like let's say you're up. I use this example a lot. Let's say you're up 20% from last year, right? You're like, oh, cool, number go up. Yeah, great, company's doing great. And then the next year you're 5% lower than what you did the year before. And then suddenly to a lot of like executives and like a lot of corporations, that's a bad thing. But in reality, you're still up 15% from the fucking 2 years ago that you were at. And it's this situation of just them following this really fallacious idea that there's infinite profits to be had.
Infinite wealth, if one were to say it in a cringe way.
That's true. Yeah, we're basically in like late stage capitalist hell. the game industry is cooked. Not to be a hater. I mean, I would say a cynicist at this point, or a realist, depending on how you look at it. The game industry, basically the North American game industry is like fucking cooked right now.
Yeah.
Who the fuck knows what's going to happen? I know several people who just can't find work that are like veterans that are leaving the game industry altogether because working at a call center is more secure and gives them better benefits than working in the game industry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can I just say, since we're on our Haterade thing, shout out to Sonia, who emailed us about being haters. Congrats, you get a whole episode dedicated to you.
Yes, Sonia. Thank you so much.
Shout out to Sonia.
In the worlds of Pearl, you're a star.
Like SpongeBob Pearl?
No, like Pearl, like
Diamond
the Ty
and Pearl?
West. No, like the Ty West film Pearl. It's not good, but it's like a meme because Mia Goth like chortles, I'm a star.
To be fair, you are a goth.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Mia Goth.
You did say that. You
Yeah,
said
yeah.
Mia Goth.
Yeah.
Kazuma the caveman, Mia Goth.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm pounding on my chest. Ooh.
Cullen Quinn, sound good.
Yes, ooh.
And then
God.
Another caveman's like, yes.
Well, that's because like I like sleeping with sirens. So when they were like, I remember reading the interview where like the sound guy was like, oh, I love From First to Last. So I, reached out to another Screamo legend, Cullen Quinn, and I love sleeping with sirens. I was like, excuse me, what?
The people who make Sonic music are really cool with it.
Yeah.
We'll make you a fan one day. You'll see. You'll get it.
I mean, I'm already a fan of the music. That's my people. But speaking of Sonic, do we want to talk about things we've been engaging with this week that isn't homework? Because we're going to save homework towards the end of the episode.
Yeah, I can do that.
I think, yeah. Sonic's probably the only thing I enjoyed in my 2 weeks since podcast.
Okay, so how was Sonic? Can you fill us in on your time with Sonic?
My Sonic arc, I finished Sonic Frontiers. That game's really good. It's like a 7, but it's like a really good 7, so I don't really care. I think it's really funny that a game like that for kids is just able to put like a bullet hell's like really hard final boss in. I think it's really cool that there are still game developers out there that go fuck them kids and then make kids cry.
I mean, kids have better reflexes than we'll ever have at this point, so...
Not me, I'm different.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, Mr. Different.
Are you going to mention the fact that you somehow corralled everybody into doing Sonic speedruns?
Oh, yeah, I guess I did enjoy that, but that also caused me misery. So I was in a call with 2 of my friends late at night. I think it was probably after we started, we finished recording, where we just were talking about Sonic Generations, and we were all like, Sonic Generations is okay. Mm-hmm. It's like whatever, because we don't really like how there's not really a story, and it's and what is there is kind of lame. But like the game's pretty fun. We were like, yeah, the game's all right, and we all booted it up just in case. And we're like, oh, we forgot this is like one of the best designed Sonic games of all time. And then we all went further into like modding the game and looking at all like that was available. And I modded in like Unleash Sonic and stuff like that. And then we were like, well, what if we sped run? What if we competed? And then we got like a bunch of people in my server to just start posting times and try to run stuff as fast as possible. This will mean nothing to like at least Kazuma, but I was able to get a 150 on Speed Highway, which I think is pretty impressive. It's still not the best time in our friend group, but I think sub 2 is like pretty all right. And I want to keep speed running that game, but like the inputs required of you to do good times in that game really hurt your hands. It was foreshadowing of the immense amount of body pain I was going to experience on this day.
So why are you in pain?
I went to the water park.
Was it fun?
It was an amazing time. I pushed myself too hard.
You should post your fit on the podcast.
Like the podcast?
Yeah.
Twitter?
Yeah.
I'll think about it.
Yeah. And if you do, then I'll share a fit to post because I went to an event this week.
Oh. I'll probably forget this conversation happened, but if you remind me, I'll try.
Okay, cool. I'll drop a fit. Because this week I also went out of my apartment and did things. I got invited to a Bandai Namco arcade event. They opened up a level up in Los Angeles, and they invited me for fun. Full disclosure, yeah, I got invited there just to vibe, and I did some gachapon and took a picture of Pac-Man and sent it to you guys.
Yeah.
Who is she? It's Pac-Man.
But it was fun?
Yeah, it was fine. They had like free drinks and free food, and it was just chatting with a lot of people and just hanging out and then going home. They gave me some merch. Overall, I mean, if you like sports bars, but you also want to play arcade games and, spend $2 for a single gachapon coin when it costs 2 to, play the machine and lose money on plastic objects, then yeah, you'll love it.
And if you live in California.
Yeah, everything's fucking expensive. Yeah, it was fun. It was fine. I had the Pac-Man drink, which was tequila, pineapple juice, some other sort of citrus juice, and lemon. And when they rolled out Pac-Man, all of the influencers were taking pictures with Pac-Man, and it was interesting to watch.
I've never fucked with Pac-Man. I'll be real. I've always been a Dig Dug boy. Where's him, huh? Bring Dig Dug back.
Is that Nintendo?
No.
It's Namco.
Well, it's Bandai Namco.
Oh, okay. It's Bamco.
Yeah, it's
All
Bamco.
right. Okay, well,
Dig Dug and Elden Ring. Let's get it going.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, let's do Dig Dug. Maybe, Dig Dug is having an illicit affair with Miss Pac-Man.
See, Dig Dug could never exist in the modern thing because if you try to remake that, people would just get horny.
What?
Yeah, because of the inflation.
Yeah, inflation.
What?
Yeah.
Kazuma discovers inflation fetish on our podcast. Okay.
Makes you big and round.
GC,
the video game.
Yeah, it makes you big and round.
When Cullen says that, can you put the It's Sunny music when he said that? Kazuma
Yes.
discovers inflation fetish.
I'll put it for 3 seconds, for the entirety of the length of Cullen speaking.
Yeah. Oh my god. That's okay. All right.
Yeah.
Anyways, GC, what did you do?
Did you get big and round, GC?
Shut up. Oh my god.
I kept myself my normal size. Thank you very much.
That's good.
I did not have a very eventful week. A lot of my week was just spent working and stuff. I did continue my Stardew Valley playthrough. Stardew Valley's great. Mm-hmm. No, nothing new there. I decided to... So the Fallout TV show came out, and I did not watch the Fallout TV show, but everyone was getting back into Fallout, so I decided to play some Fallout 76. And my thoughts on Fallout 76 are the same that they've always been, which is that game is a lot of fun. Man, I hate every business practice attached to Fallout 76. And I've never... It's the textbook example of what happens when a business gets in the way of a really cool idea. Fallout 76 has really cool level up mechanics. It has really cool grouping features when you play with your friends and whatnot. It has fun events to play. It has a really well realized environment and level design. And it just sucks that every 2 seconds I'm reminded that if I'm not paying $15 a month for the Fallout First premium subscription mode, I'm going to run out of storage space. I'm going to run out of inventory space. I'm going to run out of this or that, or I'm not going to have the currency to buy the nice cosmetic that I want, or I'll have to deal with really bad latency issues on the servers. It's just one of those things that's a mess, and it's a mess entirely due to corporate bullshit.
Love capitalism.
Yay. That's my haterade energy for this week. It's fuck capitalism. I'm
GC has mild haterade.
Yeah.
If people look at my Twitter, they know that I'm a massive.
Yeah, but you're all eepy from work.
Yeah, I am. I'm also very tired. I had a very long shift today that amounted into not much money, but that's okay.
Oh.
That's okay. That's neither here nor there. But yeah, just doing a lot of work, doing a lot of work. And that's been me. That's it. That's all I've been up to.
I don't know. Earlier today, we were hanging out and you were playing Balatro and you're like, I don't like this game. I hate this game so fucking much. And I was like, you should stop playing it. And you're like, well, but
we'll get into that. We'll get into that later when we talk about homework.
Yeah.
Why? That wasn't your homework.
I know, but it was Cosmos.
But it was my homework.
Oh,
so,
true.
Yeah.
I have words about Balatro, but I'll save it for later.
Yeah, the only game that I played, so basically what I did this week is I rewatched a lot of Game of Thrones, which is fine. I just again am realizing that I'm attracted to older men, which is whatever.
You should watch MILF Manor.
No, Jake watches MILF Manor. He's gonna keep me up on it, but
you should watch it because they've introduced DILFs.
Yeah, I know it's DILF Manor now, but
the title hasn't changed, but yeah, it's DILF versus BILF boy.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Young men who I'm not interested in.
Yeah, I don't know how the young men that
but yeah, I was rewatching Game of Thrones like the first couple of seasons just because like I needed something to put on in the background. As I was like, Yimatinen? What the fuck are you talking about?
Young men that I'm not interested in.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, that is all right.
Oh wait, I added it at the end. Give it to me.
To
Give it to me.
Yeah, I was rewatching Game of Thrones because I had to like work on like a bunch of reviews and stuff, and some other things, and then listeners, guess who I think is attractive in Game of Thrones. You'll never guess. Just comment. Give us those.
Follow.
Give us those analytics. Comment. Other than that, I was playing Hades 2, which I think is a totally fine game. I feel like it's, like the Madeline Millerification of Greek myth. Any of you here read Madeline Miller?
Nope.
Not at all.
Okay, so Madeline Miller wrote The Song of Achilles, which a lot of people praise as like, this really fantastic, like queer, like piece of literature. It's about Achilles and Patroclus, but it starts turning into fanfic in which it becomes like egregiously misogynistic for literally no reason other than the fact of like misogyny.
Cool.
And basically pitting women against queer men, which is really annoying and feels like fanfic. And she also wrote Circe, which was the girl bossification of the myth of Circe. Odysseus in that is pretty blah, whatever. But Hades 2 feels a lot like that, where it's sort of like the distillation of these figures. The writing doesn't feel as strong, and it also feels like GC. I wrote this in like the Discord where I was like, it feels like it's becoming Dragon Age and like Mass Effect, in which so much of the game is based around like, or I guess what people are engaging with a lot right now is more or less like the things you can ship in the romance, as opposed to the game itself.
Yeah, I think the way we put it was that the way that I understood it is that it's sort of written the way people remember the way Hades was written, not necessarily the way Hades was actually written, but like the sort of the fan interpretation of those characters.
Yes, yeah. It feels like so much is focused on the romance, or at least the public attention is focused on like the romance, that I'm just like, come on, okay, everyone's gonna call me a fucking prude or whatever, but like when I play these games, I'm playing them for a story. If there's like interesting relationship stuff tacked on, then that's good too. But if your story is weak and comes secondary to who you can fuck, then I'm not gonna be interested. That's literally why I stopped playing Dragon Age. Like straight up. That's why I stopped playing Dragon Age, and why I wasn't interested in Mass Effect was when I think I maybe talked about like a previous episode, but do you remember when one of the BioWare devs walked out on stage and said, OMG, all the feels?
I vaguely remember that, yes.
I'm glad I skipped this part of my life that I could have fallen down. That sounds cringe.
So it was during E3.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, and one of them said, I was like, OMG, all the feels. Because they knew where their audience was. They knew who their audience was. But it was just such like a turning point in terms of their marketing that I was like, okay, Dragon Age is not for me. And I think Hades 2 as well, despite being, it's fine. I think I beat it too fast. I'm not dying enough. I need to die more to unlock more things, whatever, It's not for me. And I think for that reason, I'm probably not going to play any more Hades until it's like a full game. That's my haterade for the week, in which I am just like, boo, tomato, 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 at how dating and relationships have become basically like the bulk of something, and the actual narrative is like secondary to everything else.
As a comparison, Hades 1 has the bigger story is like the relationship that Zagreus has with his father. Mm-hmm. Right? And like that's like the big main story, and then all the side characters are sort of like they all have their own opinions on Zagreus and Hades, and like their sort of like input influences the way you view the relationship as well. And then eventually, like the whole story, like Hades' whole thing is like working through your estranged relationship with your dad.
Yes. And this is like finding your parents, but also you can take a bath with Odysseus.
Hey, yo.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. See, when I say take a bath with Odysseus, that is weird, right? Like it's not just me that thinks that's weird. Like that's actually weird, right?
Like I feel like that might cross a line, and it might put that game into like I guess like my thing is like I don't want a romance novel when I play that kind of game, or at least that's not really what I want from like a Hades 2.
Yes.
I don't want a romance novel. I don't want the focus to be on like the relationship stuff, because Hades 1 had that stuff, but one, it was actually like pretty hard to romance characters in Hades. You needed to give them like that item that was like hard to earn, or at least like
you get it so much in this.
Yeah, and even then, like there were characters in Hades 1 that would flat out reject you. I remember I tried romancing Medusa in Hades 1, and Medusa was like, sorry, like it's not really, it just, I don't
That's
really
weird,
see you
bro.
that way.
I'm ahead. That's cringe.
And it like it was sort of like an interesting take. It was kind of like a neat addition to everything else. Whereas like if Hades 2 is largely like pushing a lot of that to the forefront, I feel like that's very much just riding the fan fiction high, which I guess is like, that's their prerogative if that's what they want to do.
That's their audience.
But that does kind of like, that does kind of change the way I view that game and like my excitement for it a little bit.
You should give it a shot. I'm not going to sign it as homework for you because I feel like that's a game you do need to like enjoy like on your own terms.
Oh, I'm going to wait until it comes out like full.
Yeah. Because I'm just like right now, I'm just kind of like, meh. It's like how, well, here's the thing. Like my opinion could drastically change. Because I remember when Hades 1 came out and I was like, oh, you're playing like a Greek god. Okay, so like you should be able to romance a man, right? Like that should be a thing. Your male romance wasn't available until like way later on, and I was like actually kind of annoyed about that because like queerness and like, like gay relationships is like pretty big in like Greek mythology and shit.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, cool. Gay men are an afterthought in this, right? And I just wasn't super happy with that. But then I played Hades 1, and it was the first 10 out of 10 I ever gave like a game. And I really liked Thanatos and Zagreus. But with this, there's just like the feeling of it, the feeling that this is like not for you. And you're just like, I gotta step away from this. Like that's that, right? Yeah.
I gotta play this for myself and see how I'd feel. I haven't finished one.
It's fine.
Oh, so the 10 out of 10 is just fine now.
No, Hades 2.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm being a
Hades
bitch.
2. Yeah. Okay, it's fine. Speaking of, just me not liking something, I think that's the strongest opinion I have this week is that
Something is fine.
yeah, I mean,
You're not a real hater.
You're
a
if you
finer.
Want me,
You're a
yeah,
finer.
Yeah,
You're
well,
a wishy-washy finer.
Yeah, well, if you want to talk about being a hater,
No.
Cullen.
You said you were going to finish something. Continue.
Well, I was going to lead that into, there's something that I do hate, actually.
Hell yeah.
And it's the reason why I stopped watching modern anime.
Oh.
And it wasn't Attack on Titan. It goes further back. It goes to, I am sitting in my parents' living room. I am in middle school. And I am so excited because the next installment of this series that I really like is premiering. This series that I was totally infatuated with as a kid, with the 2 installments I saw before this one just really hitting hard in terms of its storytelling and how one series was super goofy and had some of the best heterosexuals I've ever seen in my life. And this one, God, was I hyped up. And then I watched it. And I decided I would never watch modern anime ever again. And that series was Gundam SeeD.
I haven't seen that show. Can you tell us about it?
No, Cullen, because you've seen it.
Maybe the last one died. 'Cause remember, I came back. I don't really have many memories.
Show us what a real hater looks like.
Yeah, show us, Cullen. Show us what a hater looks like.
Imagine, I don't even know where to begin. Like so in theaters this week, after 20 years after its show wrapped up, Gundam SeeD Freedom came out. And when I saw it came, like, you know, it got announced for the West and I saw the tickets go up and I was like, I should buy a ticket and just do it. I should sit through the 100 episodes of the show I have heard is like the worst piece of Gundam media ever. And I didn't know anything about it really. I had no idea. I saw the robots. I thought they were cool. I heard everybody be like, oh yeah, Gundam SeeD is like whatever. SeeD Destiny, man, that show's like really bad. Like, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks ago, I started trying to watch Gundam SeeD and I was so bored after 16 episodes that I dropped it. But last week, well, I guess this week, around like Sunday, I was like, okay, so that movie is in 2-ish days. I don't know, should I cancel my tickets because movie tickets are expensive, but should I but it's, it's Gundam on a big theater and I'm such a big Gundam fan. I was like, okay, I typically don't do this, but I will watch the movie compilation series that compiles all 100 episodes of Gundam SeeD, SeeD and SeeD Destiny, that is, into 7 movies, 3 for SeeD, 4 for Destiny. And so I sat my white ass down and I tried to listen. And I apologize in advance if this is your goat, but I think Gundam SeeD is the biggest pile of dog shit I have ever witnessed in my entire life. It makes me think the art of fiction itself is a worthless endeavor. It makes me think that media literacy is truly dead. And again, if you're sitting there and you're getting really mad, I need you to understand this is not an attack on you. I know quite a couple people who really like this show, and I'm happy for you that you're able to enjoy the big robot and the Kira who go, stop the bad thing, and then he saved the day, and then I'm really happy for you. You might want to tap out on this one. You might just want to not listen to this one.
No. You should listen to it because here's the thing. Because whenever anyone's like, I love Final Fantasy 14, you know what I say, Cullen? I say, you know what? You deserve something better. I hope you go and engage with something else. I think it's fun.
Kazuma,
yeah?
I don't feel that. This show makes me into a different person.
Oh, shit. Okay.
This show does not if we had a conversation face to face and you were like, yeah, I love SeeD, and I'd be like, that's great. But when I am sitting here on my soapbox, literally standing up right now at my podium, speaking my truth, I want to say that Gundam SeeD is a show for.
I mean, you can say that.
I can say that. And I really need people to know a lot of this is just anger. I'm not going after anybody. So when I say that if you like this, you're a fan of nationalistic propaganda garbage, and that makes you a worse person.
Oh, shit.
You need to understand that this is not I need to get this stuff out because I see the hype and I see the people who like this show and I don't get it. I do not understand on a fundamental level. Let's start, and GC joined in for some of this, but not enough to really get an opinion outside of the fact that he heard us complaining about it when we were watching Destiny. If I'm to be a bit more fair, I think the original Gundam SeeD is really just kind of mediocre. It is a boring remake of the very original Gundam series, which I will refer to as 0079, because it released in 1979.
Mm-hmm.
In so many ways, it is just ripping things one to one and just not doing it as interesting. For example, I really hope this doesn't become a Gundam rant. If at any point you're just done, stop me. Because I watch so much Gundam SeeD and I have so much to bitch about. I'm not really focused on anything. I'm just going to try to go in chronological order and just see what happens. And I will be taking questions as I go. So Gundam SeeD stars this boy named Kira Yamato and his best friend from childhood, Athrun Zala, and they are on different sides of a conflict. Athrun is part of a like a federation-ish, a resistance kind of group called Zaft. Because in the world of Gundam SeeD, there are these things called coordinators. And what a coordinator is basically just eugenic super people.
Wait, is that the new type?
Yes, I was going to say. So in Gundam 0070, pretty much you see Gundam, which is the Universal Century, which encapsulates like the main Gundam. Everything else is an AU. That's like the main Gundam thing. A new type is a concept that is purposefully vague because it is a developing like study on a new type of human that is kind of born from humanity going out into space. It is considered an evolution of humans. And if you were to look at both these on paper, they are very similar. Like you have humans that are basically like built different. They develop into being more attuned with their surroundings, more empathetic with other people. Like there's so much in the original Gundam that is basically talking about the potential of humanity that exists in this like strange hippie bullshit. And then there's also the cynical part of it where it's like, hey, what if we took this like kind of beautiful thing and we used them to be soldiers because they're really good pilots? What if we weaponize this? Because because new type before the Gundam series, it was like an idea. It was like a theory. And they really came into their own in the main war that takes place in 0079 when they see like all these kids in space and like the Zeons like develop into these like really weird skills. So SeeD's version of that is so much more boring because it's just like, hey, what if when you were in your mom's belly, she went to a clinic and they turned some knobs in your DNA and they made you cool. And so there's so much of the
so it's Gattaca.
I don't know what that means.
Gattaca, it's like, basically what if you could tailor make babies?
I guess. But yeah, it's like you give them like all the features you want. And it's such a hollow version of new types that just doesn't get it and is so much less compelling. Because your whole thing's comes down to, okay, but like the eugenics babies are way cooler and stronger and more powerful, right? And that's it. That's as far as they go.
But more importantly, like if you compare the two sort of like the two metaphors, new types are the result of like humanity's like your consciousness breaking down, and like becoming more empathetic with other people is like parallel to reaching out into the stars, and like it is a form of evolution, and like the future of humanity is that we break down what it is to be an individual and we become more like focused on the well-being of each other and this and that or whatever, whereas coordinators are literally a eugenics experiment.
Yes, and I'd like to stop you. Well, I guess like add on to that and say you have absolutely understood the core values a Gundam series should have. Because the Gundam series is about mutual understanding being the one thing that is able to stop like endless conflict, and that depending on the show you watch, it can go in either two ways, where it's like people cannot do this. They try and they struggle and they definitely want to, but fundamentally we thrive on conflict. Even if there are some people who will always try to just reach out and make those like connections with one another. And then the other side is exactly that, where it's like, this is the only way and we will get there one day, but like it will be a bit. Gundam SeeD is a stupid show that believes in nothing. It believes in it believes in this kind of like fake pacifism, like liberal pacifism, I almost want to say. Gundam SeeD is a show that lies to you and say that it's something that like believes in how war is bad, but it is a spineless, cowardly show that at worst will just not like take a stand on really bad like issues like genocide or anything like that, and then at worst becomes basically like fascist. Fucking I fucking hate Gundam SeeD. I despise Gundam SeeD because it is your main group at some point, like they basically make their own faction in SeeD, which is a third faction representative of the in-universe stand-in for Japan, because the whole thing is that there's like a nation called Orb in Gundam SeeD, and they are literally meant to be a representation of Japan. And the whole thing is like, yeah, we're really advanced, and we actually have the biggest army, and we could totally be a superpower, but we're kind of better than everyone else, and we don't want to get involved in anything. And the show thinks that them like hoarding all this technology and not helping people in need is like a good thing, that those are the values that you should have. And it's very strange because that ends up becoming the main, I guess, like raison d'etre or whatever of our protagonist Kira. And that is what he believes in. He believes that violence is bad, and that is it. That is all he believes in. It's like he had half of an idea and did not cook any further.
I think the sort of, I didn't catch, like you were saying, I didn't catch all of your SeeD Destiny adventures, but I did catch sort of the tail end of it. And what I understood was that in SeeD there's Orb, right, who believe themselves to be better than everyone else.
Pretty much.
Right. And the show sort of frames this as a good thing. Like, it's a good thing that they're better than everyone else. It's a good thing that, like, whatever, they should be in charge. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this very like supremacist sort of idea building there. But the real villains of SeeD Destiny are a group of people who secretly run everything.
Okay. So we'll get to that because we're not even at Destiny yet. I'm glad you brought that up, though. Ultimately, what SeeD devolves into by the time it gets to Destiny is not the secret shadow government or whatever. It is people who want to change things. Because Gundam SeeD is a series that loves the status quo.
More than the Persona series?
The Persona series is progressive in comparison.
Ugh.
No, you don't get it. Literally, Gundam SeeD, the Destiny ends with all of our characters joining the Orb, like, military to work for the government. It is so, like, kind of disgusting how it frames that as a good thing. Because typically in Gundam, you'll have these, like, scenarios where, like, Amuro Ray, the ace pilot of the original Gundam, after he wins the war pretty much, you would assume that like he gets to ride off into the sunset, but he literally is like under watch through like the beginning of Zeta because the government doesn't trust him and they want to have him like to use at any moment. And then eventually he basically just becomes a cop by Char's counterattack. And that's not like really seen as a good thing. Like, yeah, Amuro,
it's sort of his character flaw.
Yes, Amuro basically falls back on structures of power and just becomes a cog in the machine who reinforces the status quo. And there's something really compelling. Like, by the time you get to Char's counterattack, it is an idealistic battle between Char and Amuro, because Char is like, his idea is that we need to drop a meteor on humanity to force them to fucking do something and stop ruining the planet, to stop causing like all this discrimination between new types and the people of Earth. They are drastic measures, but he is like, I'm trying to force us to get our shit together because no one's doing anything. And the powerful people who run the Earth Federation just will sit there and just do nothing. Gundam SeeD is a show that says, no, but let's sit here and do nothing. Your protagonist, Kira, his third faction at a point, because Kira has this no killing rule, they show up to battles and they just start like mucking about. They literally, like, their whole thing is that they think violence is bad. Like their ideal is the cycle of violence is bad. And so we should just stop all violence. And that is it. And this devolves to a point where, because it is a very like, it's trying to apply shades of gray, I guess, to every possible situation. And this idea ends up going to the extreme of, you have, like in Destiny, your Zaft forces are they are ran by someone who is basically saying, hey, the war industrial complex is literally causing us to continue conflict. We should stop that because that's bad. And they are going after a group of mass murderers who are like running the war from the shadows and saying we should probably stop those guys. And our heroes say, no, you cannot do that because Orb is keeping them safe. And we live in Orb and we don't want you to cause problems for the Orb government. So they, in their robots, fight off like Zaft, who ends up becoming the reasonable one somehow. But there's like I know there's a, like, people are probably willing to be like, wait, actually, but the main guy, Durandal, he's got a sneaky plan. We'll get to that. But like, you have situations where Kira goes, you have to stop. You cannot kill the guy who runs the secret super shadow government. We have to let him go because violence is bad. Smash cut to that guy being like, haha, they let me get away. I now have a laser beam. Let's kill billions of people. And then he does it. In the beginning of Destiny, there is a moment where a faction is trying to do a colony drop, essentially. And for those who don't watch Gundam, a colony drop is the worst thing anyone can ever do. And it is exactly what it sounds like, because there are space colonies, like massive colonies of people who have moved out into space, and is basically redirecting that to plummet into Earth. And so they have one of the worst colony drops I have ever seen in any Gundam series. And the good guys basically let it happen. And then it doesn't matter. Billions are dead. There are so many 9/11s in Gundam SeeD Destiny that the good guys let happen. And it is like they are never brought up to task for that. They are never like questioned. They never have to come to terms with their ideals. The show almost basically just believes that you should like think it's whatever.
It hand waves it.
It hand waves it. Yeah. It's like, there is so much, like, I have never seen a show that wants to murder civilians as much as Gundam SeeD Destiny does. There is
more than Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder would get a big fucking boner chode like from watching Gundam SeeD Destiny. He would think Gundam SeeD Destiny is the best show ever made. He would fucking jerk off every time billions die on screen. And they fucking show you it too.
But like the weird thing is like they show you billions dying, and like I saw that section and I was like, they don't, it's almost like they're not doing it for shock value. They literally like when
they're a casualty of war and they don't like, it's whatever.
They don't matter. Like they when I say they literally hand wave it, I mean the show literally says like, the show is basically saying in the way they depict it and then the way that they don't acknowledge it later, the characters don't have like a crisis of identity over it, like nothing. It just happens and then they move on and they just treat it as like an element of war.
And the thing is, because you're right, there is one character who is fucking mad at this happening. And he starts as the protagonist of Destiny. But because he is trying to change things, he becomes like call him a minor antagonist, call him an antihero, whatever. But the show considers him wrong for being mad that Orb does nothing and lets people die.
Who is that? Is that Atherin?
Shin Asuka. No, Atherin is completely murdered.
Okay.
Fuck it, Atherin ends SeeD in a pretty good spot where he's like, I'm going to go hang out with my wife. And we're going to run Orb, and I'm not going to be a soldier anymore because my dad was Hitler and I got brainwashed into causing a bunch of problems. And like, you know, like Zaft is really weird because Zaft is like in SeeD, they basically do the same thing that happens in 0079 where it's basically ran by Hitler. And like, it is because in 0079, the Republic of Zeon was kind of formed around that new type idea. And the whole thing, like Gundam, was trying to do with its original series was be like, hey, so these like people, like these idealists, their ideas could basically get stolen from under them and corrupted and twisted into basically doing a fascism.
Okay.
SeeD kind of does that a little bit. And Atherin is like, he says, okay, I do not want to be a part of this. Like, I do not want to be part of the Nazi party. I want to protect people. And Atherin and SeeD, like the best character in the show. Within a couple, what I can only assume is a couple episodes. I just watched the movies. Within a couple episodes of Destiny, he goes, well, I'm leaving Orb. I'm leaving my wife, and I'm going to go be a soldier at the reformed Nazi party. And he basically does nothing but complain and whine and do nothing the entire show. But like, Zaft is really weird in Destiny because they are like, basically, because the whole idea is like, hey, Hitler's out. We want coordinator rights. You know, that's it. They are ran by a new guy who is just an MCU villain. He's that kind of MCU villain that you find in like Captain America and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where like the words he says has a point, but the writer disagrees with that point. So at one point he has to go, I have to go murder a bunch of babies with a machine gun.
Oh yeah, because the villain in fucking Falcon and Winter Soldier is like, we need to eliminate nation states, no borders, and it's like, well, yeah, and then it's like, okay, now I'm gonna go do a big bad terrorism, and it's like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
I'm gonna go murder innocents. So then you can be like, oh, see, you could have had good ideas, but your methods are wrong. So instead of refuting your ideas, we're just gonna beat you and then stand around and let nothing continue to happen. And that is exactly what happens in Gundam SeeD. Your characters will continue to refute ideas like, hey, mass murder is bad. Hey, it's not really great that we let the war economy go on. Hey, we should like advance society. But because the writers don't believe in any of that, they make it so that he is running a propaganda empire. He secretly believes in a massive eugenics plan. He is willing to murder like so many people. And you really get the vibe that like that was kind of like a later thing. Like he gets progressively worse and worse and worse. And like the problem is that from the perspective of like, I get like, we are supposed to think of him as like a bad guy. And he is like, by the time you get to the end, again, what he is actually trying to do is bad. But the problem is that the things he is still doing are pretty like understandable things. Like not the like propaganda and like the manipulation and all that stuff, but the things he's actually trying to get accomplished before he goes off the deep end is just like, hey, there's an evil shadow government and Orb's protecting them. We cannot allow billions of people to get murdered and do nothing. We need to change society. We need to push things forward or they will never get past this stagnant era. And like the writers don't like that ideology. So they go, no, but he's like a bad guy. So the cast says,
yeah, they write in a mask off moment where they're like, see people that say these things, what they really mean is this.
Yeah, what they actually are trying to do is this. And then it starts throwing out this like dumb thing about how like, oh, well, we can't all like become coordinators because free will. Like, because his ultimate thing is that he's like, yeah, I'm going to make it so that we sort people by their genes and then that'll decide their like status in society. And it really feels like that kind of Republican response to
they basically write the bad guy as though he's going to instill a caste system.
Yes.
Like one doesn't already exist?
Well, it's a different one based off genes. It's a really stupid plan. And the problem is that what the heroes want instead is to stop him, not because he like killed anybody, like, or is necessarily evil, but because he is trying to change the world and take away their freedom, which like, I also believe in free will and how it's important, but it really feels like a right-wing like response to ideas that the world should be better. It's that kind of shit that you'll see like on Fox News where it's like, they're trying to take away our guns. They're trying to take away everything when it's like, hey, a bunch of like people are murdering like kids in school. That's fucked up, right? And then they twist it and like they're taking away your rights. And that's the cast of Gundam SeeD pretty much, because they don't refute his ideals. They simply say, stop that. And then after he's defeated, make a tyranny where Orb has all the power because Orb takes over his like entire army.
Well, remember, Orb is the good guys.
Yes, and Orb is the good guys.
Because they're the analog for Japan, so of course they're the good guys.
Yes. So Orb good. Orb very good.
The way this show loves to basically establish two different forms of like supremacy and imperialism, and say our imperialism is good, but their imperialism is bad. But then also to essentially make an allegory to a secret cabal running the world.
So, but you can explain it if you want, and I can chip in.
The fact that the show does this is so ludicrous to me, because it wants to. The expression is I want my cake and I want to eat it too, right? And it's what our one of our friends said, where it's the epitome of fascism.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's out and out fascism, where it's like we are simultaneously better than you and also the victims.
Mm-hmm.
So Japan, yeah, okay, I understand.
But you bring up a great point, because yes, at a point Destiny says, hey, there's a conspiracy that like people are running the world and causing all the problems. And it's like, oh, this is that anti-Semitic, like.
Yeah, it reads like anti-Semitism.
Yeah, it's because it's based off that conspiracy theory. Okay, even if you, the writer, were like, oh, that's a cool concept. Oh, please think about anything.
Yeah, like it's like such a common thing. Like even Deus Ex does it, right? But even the creator of Deus Ex was like, maybe that wasn't the best idea, even though he was like trying to do like Illuminati shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like with Deus Ex, the whole premise is that what if all of the conspiracy theories were real? So I'm willing to give him like a bit of a leeway, because
I would say them. He doesn't like being singled out as the creator.
Oh, fair. I thought he was more of like the writer, but yeah. But like, you know what I mean? Like the whole idea is like, what would the world look like if all of this was real? But no, like it just, SeeD is just, it's like basically Destiny is everything you could imagine being wrong with a show is wrong with it. Like it presents its ideas in the most messy, confused way possible. In my worst take on it, that could be to just like throw people off the scent. But like, I think it's just incompetence as well. It's like deeply misogynistic. Like some of the only characters who die in the cast are women. Their roles.
Hey, you're explaining Final Fantasy 14 to me, baby.
I sure am. So many of them rely off really stupid fucking tropes like, oh, women be jealous. Oh, women be damaged. Oh, women make so much dumb mistakes. And it's like, okay, when Gundam Zeta did this in the 80s, I said, I don't like this. It is a show from the 80s. You have no excuse making this in the 2000s. Like, I'm not saying it's like right because it's old, but like, you know, the creator clearly doesn't believe in those things anymore.
Yeah.
And the show has enough more to say about the nature of like how like fascism works and how governments like, you know, abuse its people and like all the really fucked up weird shit. And also how like, hey, we brought on the Nazis to run our government. Uh-oh, the Nazis fucking are just allowed to run free in our government. We did a fascism. Uh-oh. Like there's so many things that it believes in, and it's a clever show because it tries to incorporate so much about our real world. Destiny just rips off Zeta and does it in the worst possible way. I have never seen so much pointless violence in a show.
They have to show you the civilians dying because they want to get across the point that civilian casualties are just an expected outcome of war, and we should just sort of treat it as though it's normal. Like they want to normalize war crimes. I
really wish though, but like, and that's the problem because our heroes should technically care.
Yeah, your hero should care that someone is committing war crimes, but they don't. They just go, whoa, I can't believe they did that.
They just go, stop it. And there's never like, they don't bother being on the ground level to just be like, this is horrible. what I fucking adore about the successor show, Gundam 00, is that it is basically a criticism of Orb with Celestial Being in a lot of ways. But the thing about Celestial Being, like 00's version of this, is that it is a group, it is a third party. It is clearly not meant to be an analog to Japan. It is a bunch of the most traumatized, like, war victims of, like, war casualties who, like, lost everything as kids, who are inspired to stop that kind of violence. And in their, like, anger, they create a situation and they muddy the conflict so much that fascism is allowed to take over and they get manipulated. And then in season 2, they go, okay, let's do it for real this time. We know our fucking target. Let's go fuck up and end fascism. And in SeeD, they go, violence is bad as billions die. And they just, that's all.
They have nothing to offer but platitudes.
Nothing to, that's the writing of Gundam SeeD is endless platitudes piled onto just stupid bullshit. Like, I'm sure a lot of people who haven't even seen like SeeD have still heard of like Jesus, like Kira Jesus Yamato and all the dumb shit, how like he survives like 3 nuclear explosion blasts or whatever. It's like, I don't even care about that shit. That doesn't matter. I'm a themes guy. And you have like made a show that is so like pointlessly violent that it's just desensitized to me. And I'm seeing robots and like battles just happen at nonstop. Just so many people die for nothing, for like a status quo that is built off of like the death of billions of people. And so when I sit here and I tell you that Gundam SeeD Freedom is both the best part of SeeD and a vapid, unearned, pathetic, cowardly, like walk back of what Destiny is, like those are two statements that can exist at once, because SeeD Freedom is like a nothing of a movie. It's wild how little this movie believes in, because they essentially tried to, I can't even like get into it. It takes place after, again, everyone runs works in the government now, except Atherin, because they made him leave to do other stuff. Shin got blorboed into just an silly guy, which is fine because I think Shin's the best character in SeeD. The whole idea is, hey, there's another country out there that would never was another superpower that never existed, and they're secretly bad. And you have a really cartoonish set of villains. You have it's like, if you guys ever see like those like Naruto or One Piece or Bleach like movies, like shonen anime movie villains, fucking pointless, like dumb things are happening constantly. It's females are still written terribly. It still steals a bunch of its ideas, but they're not like the characters are actually trying to stop genocide from happening, which is such a low fucking bar for the cast of SeeD. These characters are so nothing, and the conflict is so nothing. This movie is like barely better than everything else, and that's only because it's just mediocre. Like, it's just they tried to make just a dumb, fun movie. And it's like, okay, I just watched fucking 12 hours of the most vile, reprehensive bullshit I have ever seen in my life. I don't think you earned this. Yeah. When you have your movie end with a beautiful speech about how love is important and talking to one another is the only way to make a relationship blossom, and that's your takeaway after all of the like horrendous bullshit you have made me like see, I say, fuck you. You don't deserve that. You don't deserve that theme when you're a dumb fascist propaganda show. Like, I'm like insulted that they did such a like flaccid walk back and apology for all of Destiny's weird bullshit by like trying to undo all this stuff. Like, Gundam SeeD Freedom is a fun movie, I guess you could say. You really can turn your brain off and just be like, cool, whatever. All right, neat. I'm seeing robots fight. They're pretty cool, whatever. But it's still like, it is the flaccid apology for Gundam SeeD while not entirely understanding why Gundam SeeD is bad. So you'll still have like, oh, the promiscuous woman who's into all the guys, but Kira rejects her, so she defects to the bad guys. Like that kind of like writing of women. It's just dumb. It's just like, it is meant to be a dumb fan service movie in like every meaning of the word. And if it sounds like I've just lost my spark here as I've gone on this rant, it's just because there's so much bullshit in Gundam SeeD. But ultimately, it is a show that believes in nothing. It believes in nothing. Like, it does not think.
It believes in the power of cool.
Yes, but like it does not believe humanity has the potential to like outgrow our flaws. It doesn't think that will ever happen. It thinks that you should just let your government handle everything, and that it believes that if you disagree with the status quo, you are a despicable person who should be snuffed out. And this is the most popular Gundam series ever. Gundam SeeD Freedom has made more money than any Gundam movie ever.
It's because people like vapid, shallow shit.
And that's the thing. Like all of SeeD's, like it is the definition of you want to watch the robots fight and you want to see some drama. If you are the kind of person who does not think about media, if you are just into seeing things happen, if you love like thinking about plots in a piece of work as the literal events that happen, and you don't give a fuck about themes, you just are into, like, again, like JC said, platitudes, you might enjoy Gundam SeeD. If you care about art at all, this is an abhorrent, disgusting show. I hope the robots are cool. I hope you had fun when Kira was in the robot. I hope you enjoyed it. I think this movie's bad.
And if you do like Gundam SeeD, just engage with better media, you know? Be good to yourself. Watch literally anything else.
Listen, if you want Gundam SeeD, but you don't want to feel bad about watching Gundam SeeD, I got a little show. It's called G Gundam.
Oh, G Gundam. It's flawed but good. And also, sometimes you really root for the heterosexuals, which is something I rarely do because I'm gay. But
I am of the belief that I think like stuff like G Gundam and like 08th MS Team, like a lot of those like Gundams you'll hear people like recommend as your first one to get into Gundam, like they are good, neat little like side things, but they really do a bad job of selling what Gundam can be, if that makes sense. This sounds like kind of elitist.
It does sound elitist. Well,
no, because what I'm saying, I'm not saying you shouldn't watch it. I'm saying that like, don't tell them that like when you recommend G Gundam to someone, and I'm not saying this is you guys, it's just something I've noticed. It's like, check out G Gundam. That's the good Gundam. That's the like, cause that's Gundam. And then you watch everything else and you see that it's like, oh, this is not like the thing I was sold.
Okay, I'll rephrase it. If you want to see cool robots fighting, but it not be fascist propaganda, go watch G Gundam.
No, there like I should like watch more of G Gundam. Like it's a good, fun show. I just like I just thought it was more like an interesting thing than like trying to shame you, I guess. Like
it's not my favorite Gundam.
It's my favorite Gundam. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Domon Kashu's an inspiration.
He's fucking awesome. And he's a dentist.
So
yeah.
Announced a couple of days ago, the Gundam 0079 movie trilogy is coming to 4K Blu-ray. Please watch those.
Or watch Big O.
Please engage in media that believes in things. That is all I ask of you. You can watch your dumb, fun, cool shit. Big O's cool. You can watch that stuff. But if you like actually want to engage with art that speaks and
go watch Big O. You haven't seen all of Big O yet, so you can't say anything about that.
I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to say, watch the things that Gundam SeeD ripped off and butchered. Watch the Tomino Gundams. Watch Turn A Gundam. Watch, like, just go out and just, like, engage with media on a critical level.
It really seems like the answer here is to go watch literally any other Gundam series.
Yeah.
Well, no, don't watch Unicorn. I mean, you can, but like Unicorn also has see, the problem is that so much of UC Gundam is not written by Tomino and instead written by people who didn't get it. So there's so much fucking Nazi apologism. They make Zeon look like there's a lot of like blurring the lines of the conflicts to make the Nazi party stand-ins look like better than they were, and to almost say, you know, they kind of had a point though.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Gross.
Ew.
What? You know what? Just instead go for a walk. Go outside.
Go read a book. Oh man, read some books.
Oh, yeah. I gotta read more.
I am so defeated and dead internally from the time I wasted this week thinking and watching Gundam SeeD. I hate it. I legitimately hate that show. It makes me think less about art, and it makes me think less about one of my favorite series ever, simply by existing.
Haterade. We love it.
Hell yeah.
I'm spent.
Yeah.
That show sucks.
Return to Shitburger. How's
it going? I am stuck in the Shitburger.
I mean, you're out of Shitburger now.
No, because mentally I am in Shitburger. I
cannot. No.
It takes a while to digest.
I cannot leave Shitburger. My soul is trapped. It is weighed down by Shitburger. The gravity of Shitburger.
Go read a book. Refresh your mind. I was reading the autobiography of Hans Holbein the Younger, one of the most famous court painters of the 15th century, and it was pretty good.
Can I,
Yeah?
Before we move on, can I just get like a scream out?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Gundam SeeD is fucking garbage!
Me leaning away from my PC as though it's going to make Cullen less loud.
You're stupid if you like it! Sorry, I got it out.
I'm happy for you. I'm happy you got it out. You deserve that.
I'm going to spend the next 2 weeks trying to watch art that engages my brain cells. Oh, you know what though? What probably did this no favors? I watched The Challengers in theaters.
Was it good?
The Challengers is really fucking good.
Yeah, I'm just skeptical of that guy's like filmography.
I haven't seen anything else that he has ever worked on. This is the first thing ever. And I sat there and I said, this is motherfucking cinema. They don't make them like this anymore.
Because he did Call Me By Your Name, and that's like the most heterosexual gay movie I've ever watched in my life.
Never seen or heard about that ever.
There is a scene of Armie Hammer pissing in the woods to Sufjan Stevens.
Cool.
It's not a good movie. And I watched his other one where Zendaya ate Timothée Chalamet. That was weird too. Yeah, it was, I don't know. It's like an allegory for like what it is to be an outcast as like a teenager. And in the end, like she eats him because another cannibal I don't know. I'll watch it.
Guarantee that you will like this movie, Kaz. Not to say it's like, I genuinely just loved it. It is a character study about 3 toxic bad people. And the entire movie is just raw emotion and just seeing them fuck up their lives. It is like the kind of movie where you are exposed to the messiness of humanity, and like
you're really overselling this movie right now.
No, I'm not.
It's about people who are in sports that are in a threesome that destroy each other's lives.
They never have a threesome.
No, I mean like they're in like a polyamorous relationship type thing, an open relationship.
That does not happen.
Then what is the scene with all 3 of them on the bed?
It is at the beginning of the movie, and they kiss. They have one night of kissing, and she's like, whoever wins your little match tomorrow can date me. Because, yeah. But also the 2 boys like have a makeout scene in the heat of the moment, and then Zendaya just lays on the bed and watches them make out. And then one of the guys next to me, clearly not knowing what movie he was getting into, was like, what the... Nah, that's gay. And I was like,
yeah, that's kind of this guy's whole thing. I wonder if, here's the thing though, right? Like I'm so conflicted. I'm already judging this movie before seeing this because I'm a little hater right now, where it's like I need to Call Me by Your Name was so weirdly heterosexual for being a movie about two gay people based on a book written by a gay guy who was a pedophile. Yeah, don't watch Call Me by Your Name.
I mean, I probably won't. I didn't have context for that. I just watched the film.
Yeah.
And it is like, you can say I'm overselling it. That's just what I got. I could not look away from the screen.
Is it just fun?
I would not call it fun. It's like, it is a tense movie. I cannot stress this enough. You are just getting these people a lot of the movie, because the movie is framed from a tennis, like in a tennis match after these two people have like completely like their relationship. Like these two friends just went their separate ways because they fucked each other's lives over, and their own lives. And you are getting flashbacks to all of their life in like tune of the really intense tennis match you are watching. And it like fuck Gundam SeeD. This movie has such a like it's like a weird like obsessive love for both tennis and just like people. I don't know. I really like movies where the whole thing is you're just getting character interactions.
Have you seen Sharp Objects?
No.
You should watch Sharp. Yeah. If you like people fucking up each other's lives, facing the consequences and it being really tense, you should watch Sharp Objects.
Okay. Because that's the thing. I love art like that. That is some of my favorite kind of media where it's not like literally this entire movie from the people looking outside in on this is two people having a tennis match. That is the plot of the film. Like that is the actual events that happen. But what is so engaging is just these three people and their different dynamics together and how they just cannot fucking like get their shit together. It is beautiful, fucking like high effort, brilliantly shot. And I'm just like, I don't go out and see a lot of movies because I got so burnt out on like the shit that they fucking projectile vomit out into theaters and how like just fucking nothing most of it is nowadays. To just see a movie about people being people, it just, it was so good. And then I had to watch Gundam SeeD movies for 3 days.
I'm so sorry you watched Gundam SeeD. I'm so sorry you did that to yourself. You did everyone a valuable service. What you've done will never be forgotten.
I still feel nothing.
We should watch Sharp Objects. You're sure gonna feel something.
There's a pit in my heart where feelings used to be.
Yeah, we can bring those back.
Okay.
We're gonna bring them back. Don't worry. We're gonna
We're
gonna watch MILF Manor. We're gonna.
Oh yeah, I watched MILF Manor.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of me liking older men, apparently I should watch MILF Manor because.
Yes. I will not get into like what the show is really about. It's a bunch of MILFs and a manor and young guys. But like MILF Manor 2 came back. Well, MILF Manor came back as MILF Manor 2. They went from like an island in Mexico to like small town in Canada. So it really feels like the budget just got drained. And the whole gimmick is that all the young guys who are trying to like pick up the MILFs, their dads show up to the house as contestants.
Yes, me rubbing my hands, DILF Manor. Yes.
And the dads are just as like pathetic as all the sons. The first challenge they all have is they have to strip for all the women. So you will see DILFs strip and be old and gross.
If you're old enough to be my dad. No, I'm trying to make a joke here. Okay, this is a joke.
I'm looking at the camera like fucking Parks and Rec style. Like what? You can't be saying that on the podcast, mixed baby. You can't be doing that.
Sorry. If you're old enough to be my dad, don't hit me up.
You're lying. We heard the initial take.
Well, okay, so like the guy that, we're harkening back to our first episode where I talked about the guy that was like, I was soaking up your vibes from across the club. Definitely older than I was, but not a refined gentleman. There you have to have a specific
not old
air
enough
about
to be
you.
my dad, so I didn't fuck with him.
Yeah, he wasn't like 60 or whatever. Oh my god, please. Oh my god. Sorry, I'm like realizing now that that I'm like making this like a bit and this is going to follow me for the rest of the podcast. Okay. I will say Jake is younger than I am, but
There we go.
yeah, he is younger. Jake is younger than I am.
Yeah, good to change things up every once in a while. Good deflection. I'm kidding.
You know,
Jake.
yeah. Yeah. You and Jake watching fucking MILF Manor together. But yeah, no,
I love to watch MILF Manor with Jake. I just want to watch more. I love MILF Manor. I love garbage reality TV. I wish I could get GC on the MILF train.
I'm there.
What?
Yeah,
You in the manor?
If you want to watch
Yeah.
MILF Manor with me, yeah, I'm down.
we should do a thing where we all watch it and then Jake is there because Jake fucking loves MILF Manor and I don't know why.
Jake fucking love MILF.
Jake love MILF. Oh God, yeah. Now you're talking about TV. So while you're watching MILF Manor, I'm watching Mary and George.
Never heard of it.
So Mary and George is about George Villers, who was basically the lover of King James I, and he became the most hated man in all of England, not because he was fucking the king, but because he was vapid and stupid and enacted bad foreign policy, because this is why you shouldn't basically put your lover who only knows how to dance in a position of power.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's basically his like rise to becoming like the advisor to King James I and how that fucked up England. You know, a different kind of juicy.
Damn, sucks for the English.
Yeah. Yeah, this guy was so hated that when they buried him, they had to do it at night because they were afraid people would like physically attack the people that were burying his fucking casket.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
That's how you know. That's how you know you lived a life of.
God bless haters.
Yeah.
GC, what do you hate?
Yeah. What do you hate, GC?
GC, I need to hear about something you vitriolically hate.
Yeah.
I'm it's been such a long time since I'm kind of an OG hater, you know.
Yeah.
I'm past my hating prime.
Hey,
like,
GC, what do you think about Kingdom Hearts?
I don't. This is bait. This is bait, and you know it. I don't like Kingdom Hearts, but
How much do you not like it? What's the extent of this dislike?
I think a lot of people put a lot of stock into something that's just designed to sell you fucking Disney toys, but that's neither here nor there. I really don't have anything more to hate on this week. I got it all out of my system talking about Xbox and Gundam SeeD Destiny. I'm sure at some point there will be something new for me to hate, but I've been living quite a content life for the most part.
And speaking of content lives, GC, how are you liking SaGa? Let's jump into our homework assignments.
Oh God, I really spent the entire podcast talking about Gundam SeeD. I'm sorry.
No, see, I asked you to talk about it.
I mean, yeah, if we're gonna break kayfabe, I loved it, but like,
Yeah, I know.
Let's talk about homework. Let's get into homework. I guess I will start about homework. Let me just, for those of you that don't know, here on the podcast, we assign each other homework every 2 weeks, and we go off on our separate ways to do our homeworks, and we report back every episode with what we did and how we felt about it. This week, I was assigned SaGa Emerald Beyond by Cullen.
Hi.
SaGa Emerald Beyond sure as hell is a fucking video game. Boy howdy. I really enjoyed my time with SaGa Emerald Beyond. Let's get this out of the way. I have no fucking clue what the story of SaGa Emerald Beyond is. You get to pick one of multiple protagonists, and I can't tell you what the person's story that I picked was because it just kind of goes. It just kind of assumes that you know things even though you totally don't, and you're just sort of expected to go along with it, which is really neat. So my character was like, oh, I gotta go get these spirits to preserve the barrier of this city that I live in, and it didn't go into like specifics about it.
He's just that kind of guy.
He's just that kind of guy.
Mito is that guy. Mito's that dude where you're like, fuck, I'm at the airport. My ride canceled on me. Who do I got on my phone? Mito, can you like, and he's like, he pulls up immediately. He's got a coffee in his hand. He's like, buddy, get in the car. Like, I'm taking you home. He's that guy. He's listening to like classical music on the way home. He's like a bit weird, He says humdinger. He says cripes. He's like an old soul. Like
yes.
I'm sorry, not to hijack. Mito is just so like oh, whatever. He's like, he goes to these fantastical worlds and he's like, oh gee, this ain't good.
Oh gee, fella, you really scared me back there. Whoa, what a great car you got. Real humdinger, this one.
And his voice sounds like fucking, like he's like anime Norm Macdonald. It's so funny.
It was really nice to just play a video game that just threw you into a world and was just expecting you to just play through the storyline of it. SaGa is really cool in that SaGa, you were right. Last episode you were like, why don't you play SaGa, GC? How come you don't play SaGa? Because you love The Last Remnant, so why don't you play SaGa? And you're totally right. I love SaGa. One thing that I've noticed with SaGa was that there are 3,000 billion million zillion mechanics and systems at play. Constantly. There's always something new happening. I was playing and the game will literally stop when one of those mechanics like happens, and a voice will come on screen and go, sometimes an ally will protect another ally from an attack. This is known as a protect. And then the game will continue. And you go, oh, thank you, video game, for explaining this mechanic to me.
Sometimes when you eat a lot of food, you have to take a poop. Go to the toilet and unleash.
And it was really fun because at every point, there's just a new mechanic. There's just a new system and a new layer of doing something. And that's really the game. The game is sort of built on these small systems and these little small mechanics. And there's hundreds of them. There's hundreds of them. Like, you have party members who are all different races, and all the different races of party member, they all have special abilities and they all have special passives, and the game goes through great lengths to explain this to you. And it really felt like the way you play a SaGa game is you pick your character that you start with, right? You can pick through multiple storylines. And you sort of have to piece together the overarching story that's actually going on with these very limited perspectives on the events that are occurring. All the while, this very wide combat system constantly throws new novel ideas at you and new things to think about. And I thought that was going to be it. But I overachieved this week, everybody. I overachieved, and I actually finished my playthrough of that character in SaGa Emerald Beyond. I did a full playthrough at exactly 6 hours. I did the entire storyline for Mito, and I said, that was really fun. Let me go into New Game Plus, because the interesting thing about SaGa...
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Yeah, yes. The interesting thing about SaGa... You did get me. The interesting thing about SaGa is that when you go into the storylines, the game is sort of built like a board game, and you get to pick spots on the map that you explore, but those spots on the map disappear when you go do other things or if you do something else, and sometimes you have a choice to make. For example, like with Mito, you're collecting spirits, and the game says, hey, you can only collect one of these spirits in this world, because you're going to different worlds as Mito, collecting different spirits of different elements. So I went to the water spirit world, and I had to collect the water spirit, but I had to pick one. But of the 4 options that I have, the game tells you, hey, this battle's going to be easy. Hey, this one's normal. Hey, this one's hard. Hey, this one's brutal. So naturally, I went to the brutal one, and there was like a custom animation for this custom enemy. Like it was like a secret boss almost, and I couldn't beat it. So I said, okay, I'll just fight a weaker spirit. So on New Game Plus, I said, well, time to go back in with my, with my stats that carry over and go do those super bosses or those harder fights, because I want to see if that changes up my story. Not only could I not do that, not only could I not access that first water spirit world where I had those secret bosses, none of the worlds on my New Game Plus playthrough were the worlds from my previous playthrough. None of the characters from a new game of Mido's storyline in Emerald Beyond came back in New Game Plus. I was introduced to entirely new characters. Dialogue was completely different. Mido said different things. The NPC that greets you at the place where you pick the worlds was different. Everything had changed. The only thing that had remained consistent were the mechanics of the game. And my brain exploded into little bits and pieces, and I fucking was like, video games can do that? Like, I lost my marbles.
Have I already told you that like doing some characters' stories can affect other characters' stories?
So you didn't, but I did look up, or I did talk to our friend James, who told me that the only way to get a true ending for one character's route is to do something as 4 different other characters and then go fight a secret boss.
I think this is, regardless of any small qualms or annoyances I have, one of the coolest games I have ever played.
It is so interesting, and to know that other SaGa games are like that in different ways is incredible. I think I honestly, after I'm done with Emerald Beyond, and I won't be for a while because I'm going to be playing through the same character storylines over and over again because I'm obsessive like that.
Yeah.
Like, once I finish Emerald Beyond, I definitely want to go back and play some of the other SaGa games, or maybe go play The Last Remnant again. Who knows? But I really want to go back and do that. A couple little nitpicks about Emerald Beyond that I want to get across, because it's an incredible game that has an incredible amount of depth in that your repeat playthroughs are always different. Like, quality of life is sort of not there. There's navigating menus can be a little tedious. I really wish there was a way to, for instance, while I'm in my equipment screen, if there was a way to switch characters on my equipment screen instead of having to back out all the way to go pick a different character. I really wish I could hit like the right bumper or the right trigger to like swap to a different character. And one of the things that I thought was kind of annoying is that I had to re-equip all of my characters with their gear
From the previous
playthrough. And there's so much going on in Emerald Beyond that sometimes there's so many little mechanics that it's actually somewhat difficult to keep track of all those mechanics. And what ends up happening is you sort of forget to maintain some of those features. So equipment maintenance, you kind of forget to do that, and it can become very tedious if you forget to do it, and then you remember and you're like, oh shit, I gotta like craft my weapons and I gotta equip my characters. Oh, which equipment was it, and like why did I decide to use that equipment? Oh, I have like 30 pieces of equipment because the game throws like a bunch of them at you. Okay, now this is like really unwieldy and hard to like micromanage in the way that I want to. Little things like that. But yeah, Emerald Beyond, incredible. Just incredible.
The thing is you're getting like the appeal of SaGa from the sickos who like SaGa, because SaGa is a game made for sickos. And if you, the listener, heard all of that and went, that sounds like a bunch of hullabaloo nonsense, that seems overwhelming, it's probably not for you. But if you heard any of that and went, oh, even once, play these games, because they are ones that like, you need to just embrace it and just let it rush over you. And then at a certain point, you dive in deep. I'm really glad you liked it so much.
I loved it. I genuinely think it's a really cool idea to have a very non-linear narrative glued together with a very consistent gameplay system.
There's definitely a lot about it that I think could put people off. Like, the presentation is very stiff, I'd say.
Yeah.
You can really look at this and tell that it is a lower budget Square product. But despite that, if you are the type of person who loves systems in games and loves mechanics, and you're okay with a bit of like a weird presentation, it's worth checking out. There are demos Because SaGa's quirky, every platform has a different character to try in the demo. It's really weird and fun. But yeah, honestly, after this call, I'm probably just going to go play more because I have not had time to play any in a while.
Fair enough. Yeah, I loved it. I can't wait to play more. And that was me. That was my homework this week. I'm going to go ahead and give it to Kazuma.
Also, chat, if you want GC to make SaGa videos, respond and tell him to do it.
Yeah. I played Balatro, which it's a card game. I don't understand the hype around it. It's just a lot of min-maxing math. It's kind of boring and extremely underwhelming.
This is where Cullen nods for about 30 minutes.
I mean, there's nothing else to say. That's the thing, though. There's nothing else to say.
No, I'm sure GC wants a swing. I'm sure there could be dialogues.
I'm right there with you. This is why I assigned it to you, by the way, because I wasn't sure if maybe I was just, I don't know, maybe I was alone on this. Like, I get, so I'm a recovering gambling addict. I think I should point that out to everybody. I'm a recovering gambling addict. I had a really, really bad gambling addiction when I was like, I developed it when I was like 18, 19. And then it reached its apex when I was like 20, 21. I went to Las Vegas and I blew all my money. I literally spent all my money in Las Vegas when I was like 21. So since then, I've been sort of working on it. It's a process and stuff like that and whatever. But Balatro nowadays, when I thankfully nowadays when I'm gambling or when I do something that stimulates the gambling part of my brain, I get an intense burnout.
Culture.
And I am experiencing a phenomenon with Balatro where I cannot stop playing Balatro, but every time I play Balatro, I feel that intense burnout. And I feel like a lot of the joy, not a lot of the joy, but like a lot of the interest that people have with Balatro is coming from the random chance elements built into Balatro, and it's activating that same part of the brain that gets activated when you gamble.
See, I play League of Legends, and I know when I'm beat, and I can recognize when I'm about to lose. So with Balatro, I just recognize how unfair the game is, and then I'm not interested because it doesn't even pretend at being fair. It's, you get a bad hand, you lose, it's over, get fucked, start over again, or you steamroll a game, right? And there's no fun in that. Like, there's literally no fun in engaging with the systems. So I don't know. Like, I just think it's a middling, mediocre game that just involves doing some very light math and praying that you get the right Joker cards, and then that's it.
Can I just say,
yeah,
I am so happy I introduced you two. You two were made for each other.
GC is the heterosexual to my homosexual.
Yep. Yep. It's like you're just two peas in a pod.
Yeah. And we're just hating on the same things. But I mean, I guess in terms of Haterade, yeah, what I'm saying about Balatro, I feel like is harsh because people like Balatro. I don't care for it because I don't know, when something challenges me, it needs to actually present a real challenge as opposed to like some sort of like false idea of there being like any kind of like equivalent exchange between me and whatever I'm engaging with, right? Like there needs to be a level of understood and communicated fairness. I'm going to use Fortnite as a really, really good example, right?
I want to play Fortnite.
Fortnite is a fantastic game because it has to operate on the logic of being fair to children. Children need to understand why they've lost, which guns are better, and what strategies work and do not work in that game, depending on what loadout you have. Fortnite is an excellent game when it comes to balance and fairness, whether or not people want to say that, shotgun meta, whatever, but you at least understand what is going on and there are potential counters to everything. If someone's a builder, just shoot, and this is so mean. Before they had no build mode, people would build like crazy, right? And they would build like those rooms of like iron, like like the iron walled rooms. You know what I would do? I would start throwing fireflies at the bottom of those buildings and shoot the flare guns, and they would burn alive inside of their own prison.
Kazuma loves setting kids on fire.
Yeah, you know, like if you want to build, like that's your price to pay. You'll be trapped in a hell of your own making because of me.
I'm so glad they added no build. This is the smartest thing they've ever fucking done.
Yes, but that's the thing, right? Like I understood that in order to counter building, I needed to use things that were at my disposal to counter that. There were plays you could make or guns you could get that could play into your strengths. Like whenever Meta would like switch or whatever, like I don't use shotguns. I mostly just use rifles, or I just run at you and hit you with my fucking knives. I don't care. But that game, you understand how its systems work and how to engage with it properly. Whereas Balatro, again, it's random, but it doesn't do anything for me because, I don't know, there are games that deal with like random variables in terms of like a roguelite or whatever. I'm going to use Hades 1 as an example, where you can still make something work even if you get dealt a really, really, really bad hand when it comes to boons. So why would I play Balatro other than, I guess I just want to multiply numbers, but also if I know I'm beat like 2 minutes into a round, I'm going to close the game and I'm going to go play League of Legends.
Yeah, it feels like there's no in-between in Balatro where there's no like, okay, this round, this isn't going the way I expected it to go, but I can sort of pivot my build into this and that, or I can try to like do something like weird with this. You can't do that in Balatro because it's all random. Like I can't be like, oh, okay, my plan to build a pairs hand isn't like a pairs deck isn't working out, right? I want to build around using pairs all the time. Oh, that's not working out. I'm not getting the jokers I need. Okay, I'll pivot into this instead. You can't like do that in Balatro because there's no guarantee that you're going to get jokers that will synergize well together. There's nothing that lets you sort of like, for lack of a better word, stacking the deck in your favor when it comes to that. It's all random. Every aspect of the roguelike is randomized. Whereas in other roguelikes, at least like a lot of the memorable ones, the noteworthy ones, there is something that you can sort of manipulate, and you do have a choice that you can like influence in your way. For instance, it's like you can pick your starting weapon in Hades. There's this really cool roguelike game called Inkbound. It's a turn-based RPG roguelike that uses like whatever. It's really cool. And one of the things you can do is you might not be able like you pick which like room you go to next, right? And you like, it'll tell you, hey, this is a hard difficulty battle that you can go to for these rewards, or you can go over here for these rewards, and you kind of choose which reward you're going to get. And then those rewards are actually like another sort of like pick one of three option sort of deals, but those have like way better synergies. Whereas I feel like Balatro has so many Joker cards, there isn't like really strong synergy between all of them. There's like some that have really good synergy together, but there's no like, again, there's nothing that there's no building in Balatro. It's just risk taking. The entire game is risk taking. There's no skill element there.
They're sounding like I'll enjoy it.
Well, no, I don't know, because you need your brain stimulated, Cullen. I know you at this point, and there's no stimulation there. It's just like, I guess I lost. And I don't mean to sound like I'm a sore loser or whatever. Like, I don't mind losing. That's totally fine. You know, failing is the first step to success, right? Like, that's the truth. Yeah. But like in Balatro, like when you lose, and like that's it. And it's like, okay, cool, I guess. Like, you don't learn anything because there is nothing to be learned.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no learning experience there. It's just, oh, I didn't get the right randomization or whatever. To the point where like, and I think the game kind of knows this, to the point where like, if you lose a run, it gives you the seed for the run if you want to start over in that seed. And like, and like redo that specific run and then pick different options.
Yeah, but as someone that does Pokemon Kaizo runs, like if the seed is rotten, the seed is rotten. There's no saving the seed.
Seed is rotten? So true.
Yeah, sorry, if the seed is rotten, if the seed is bad, it will bear rotten fruit or whatever. I don't know, some analogy.
Gundam SeeD freedom is rotten fruit? So true.
Sure is. But yeah, so it's just like these variables don't matter because there's no way that you could possibly win. And it's already predetermined and predecided. You can't fight fate or whatever. I don't fucking know. Balatro 2024. I don't understand how it became an indie darling, but I think people are just they just want something to like, and I think that's...
Yeah, I mean, good for the devs.
Yeah.
I think it's cool they got their bag.
I think it's sort of like it's in that space of gambling. I really do feel like there's an aspect to that where it's simulating the gambling aspect, and like I think that's where people find enjoyment, where it's like, oh, you never know, like this might be the run. I have like weird, obviously personal opinions on that, but I haven't understood the hype for Balatro. I'm glad you feel similarly though, because it does validate me in a weird way. It does make me feel validated.
Again, I feel like you and I are pretty similar. And again, I feel like out of the three of us, I'm the one that's going to be the most lukewarm towards anything. There's nothing I'm ever going to like crazy love other than Evergrace. What a fascinating, strange game. But speaking of, things that I love and love sharing with all of my friends, Cullen, you got assigned Neverwinter Nights as homework, but because of Gundam SeeD destroying you...
Barely played any of it.
Yeah, and that's fine, right? Because I'd like you to talk about your really limited experience with that, and then the first episode of Big O, because I was basically like, go watch Big O. Watch
cool.
Big O. So just, yeah. I'm never gonna be a monster, Cullen.
Like me? Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not care for Neverwinter Nights. And there's
That's
a
fine.
lot of things I think that could have caused this.
It's old.
It is
very old.
It is very old, and the Switch version is bad. It is very bad. Game runs really poorly. It is not a game that should be using a controller on. The controller's map, like I played a lot of CRPGs. A lot of them have really good like controller support.
That's not a CRPG.
Well, you know what I mean? Like those old, like I've played games that are computer art, like meant to be played mouse and keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
Like Baldur's Gate on Switch is great.
Yeah.
Like games like that. This is just bad. I don't know. I made my character. I ran through the tutorial. I got really bored. The combat is it's that kind of thing where it's like it's all D&D. So it's just D&D rolls where so you'll have two characters swing at each other and miss and miss and miss and miss and then hit maybe on like the 10th time. And I was not enjoying it. It did not really have an interesting story outside of the fact that like all the premise is that you're in a city of Neverwinter and everyone's dead of plague and dying of plague, and the plague's really bad and it's quarantined, a big plague.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really get to go out into the city from what I played. I just ran in like the main like starting castle or whatnot.
The academy.
The academy. And I did up to the point where you had to like go and save a bunch of creatures and the creatures died. And I was not enjoying the combat. I have so little to actually like say about it.
Mm-hmm. So Neverwinter, like the base game is actually like everybody knows is like pretty boring.
Yeah.
Because the expansions are like where the game actually starts getting good. The combat you're experiencing is the same combat in Baldur's Gate. It's just in 3D now. This was like BioWare's big leap to 3D, and this is what they...
It's impressive, I'll say that.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is what they would build KOTOR on and everything. So it's it's... Huh?
I don't care for KOTOR.
Yeah, so this is more like I'm like, okay, go play this for the story as opposed to play it for the combat. But it's also like I'm giving you like, you're going to play the worst of the three stories.
Yeah.
I should have given you Shadows of Undrentide. because that has no association with the campaign of the first game. But I also wanted you to meet my wife, Arabeth de Tilmerand.
I do like her. She is a bad bitch.
I accidentally romanced her, and I was like, I love her. I'm 10 years old. She's my wife. I love Arabeth. Definitely one of the best characters in that series, and everybody kind of loves her for a reason. But I understand not liking it. Like, I had recommended Neverwinter Nights to a friend, and they only started enjoying it about 15 hours in when they had
like
got
one of those.
Yeah, well, when they had gotten used to the combat. See, I played it when it was fresh, and I was like, ooh, this is fun, this is really exciting, but the game is aged like milk, but is definitely like one of the most influential like RPGs of all time.
I can see the art, and I can see how like it's a respectful like game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shame because I'd want something by this team in this kind of like style of setting.
BioWare?
Yeah, and I know that both of you are just like, oh, Dragon Age.
No. I would not recommend Dragon Age. No.
Oh, okay, cool. GC, even you?
Wait, Origins?
Origins, yes, but anything after that, no.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I was bummed. I didn't really find, like, I do kind of want to pick back up Baldur's Gate, though. And the great thing about Baldur's Gate is that I could just turn the, like, combat to baby mode and then just get the story, which is the part I really care about.
Yeah, and oh my god, the story's so good. I had my dad on stream when I was playing Icewind Dale, which is another, like...
I technically own that. Is that good?
Oh, Icewind Dale's fucking awesome. And if you own the Enhanced Edition, it also has a story mode. But that has, like, you make a party of, like, 6, and then you just go...
Etrian Odyssey vibes.
Yeah, and those characters, like, the ones you make don't really have any personality, but the world is, like, so rich, and it's actually a prequel to the... GC, do you know the Crystal Shard series?
Vaguely.
Like the Drizzt novels?
Okay, yeah.
It's a prequel to the Drizzt novels.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the secret of Icewind Dale. It's actually a prequel. It's about Karen Shinibon.
And it comes with your Planescape Torment Enhanced Edition on console.
Yes, so...
I own that.
Yeah, so I would say, like, go through Baldur's Gate and everything. Because my dad was on stream and telling my audience all the lore about, like, the prequel novels, which are like 3 prequel novels to Baldur's Gate that then lead into, you know, like a bunch of other shit. And there's a lot of extra, like, material for those games. There wasn't any for Neverwinter Nights, weirdly enough. But yeah, I'm not surprised you didn't like Neverwinter Nights, but I'm glad you gave it a shot. But did you like Big O, what you tasted?
I watched 1 episode of Big O.
Mm-hmm.
It has so much swag.
Cast ye in the name of God.
I figure by the time I finish, I will have that memorized. I really appreciate that if a show like this is going to like have your big robot naturally just cause like a bunch of like collateral damage, the show is presented in such a flippant stylistic way where I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Do we not care about that? If I'm not supposed to care about it, cool. Like I'm here for robot. And it's just everything about Big O is so fascinating. Big O takes place in a city called Amnesia, where literally an incident happened where every single person lost their memory. They don't remember their past. And it's just like, cool. We're just out there. We're getting it. The show looks like Batman, the animated series. It's got so much fucking swag. I'm listening to the dub, so I got Steve Bloom as the protagonist. Yes. I'm just like, Big O. Big O. Fuck, I am in. I am going to be watching more of this show.
Yes.
I literally cannot tell you much about it because you sit down and you watch.
I'm sickos. I'm sickos at the window.
You take it in and you chill the fuck out. This would be you take a bong hit and you fucking turn on some Big O and you enjoy some goddamn media. You remember what it feels like to be a kid on like Saturday morning and you watch your cartoons and you're like, God, I fucking love Big Robot. I love Cool Guy. He wears cool suit.
I love Roger. Roger Smith, right?
Roger Smith is so fucking cool. And you see Roger just say swaggy ass shit constantly and you're like, whoa, I bet Big O gonna come in from the ground, and then Big O bursts out and he fucks up a dude and you're like, yeah, Big Robot. and like all the people are like cheering on Big O destroy like all these buildings, and there's like, yeah, Big O, fuck him up, and I'm like, yeah, this is what I needed after Gundam SeeD.
Don't worry, that it's also so like the story of Big O is actually really interesting outside of the, you know,
the surface level stuff. And I can totally see that there's like stuff they're like kind of building on and setting up. I'm not saying this is like a vapid show, but I do appreciate shows that are like, first and foremost, they're just like, hey, there's some stuff going on back there. I'm not going to address it if you're not going to address it, buddy. All right, let's get you tucked in and let's show you some cool ass shit. And I'm like, ooh, thank you. Honk, shoo, me. As it just washes over, and I just take it all in. I'm surprised I missed out on this, genuinely.
Big O came out when I was like in middle school, Cullen. Like I was in 6th grade, so I had just gotten out of elementary.
Yeah, but I even saw like some episodes of G Gundam as a kid.
Yeah, but Big O was on Adult Swim.
Oh, true. Yeah. True. I was not allowed to watch Adult Swim.
You had to go to little CPEP.
I famously got my room TV taken away from me because I would stay up and I would watch Adult Swim, even though I definitely was not supposed to, because I wanted to watch Family Guy. And then I kept seeing all these anime shows in between my Family Guy episodes, and that low-key kind of changed me.
Formative moment.
It was formative. No, I remember watching Samurai Champloo, and I remember like, again, I was like a little fucking kid, and I just wanted to watch my Family Guy episodes, and I was like, whoa, he's cutting up that dude. Whoa, Mugen's about to bed a lady. Whoa, poison. Oh, and I was just like, damn, little does he know, he's got a bright future of bitching about things on the internet. Oh, yes. And you know what? As we wrap up our homework, it's time to assign new homework. You guys know this is going to be a 3-hour episode, like, right? That's fine.
That's fine. I'm editing it.
Yeah. Thank you, GC. Everyone say thank you, GC, in the comments after one. Cullen, what did you want? After you get done telling me to K my S because of Gundam SeeD, please say, GC, you're pretty cool. Yeah, and then also, again, guess what Game of Thrones character I find the most attractive. Everyone will be surprised. Well, nobody, but everybody. But I will not be playing that game because I will never watch Game of Thrones. You know what? I might make you watch some with me. No. No? No. No. Okay, cool. So definitely like you don't, no low fantasy politics. I do not want to see sex scenes with my dad. That's like the worst possible thing. Am I your father? You're a bit daddish. Okay. GC, you get it, right? Like it's got that weird like, hey champ, how you doing? Kind of dad energy. Oh my god.
I don't get that at all.
Oh, that's just because you're a dad too. Shut up, uncle.
Hey, sport. Okay. All right, sport.
Old ass losers.
All right, sport. As we get to
get me.
Yeah. All right, champ. Okay. So as we get into our homework section, Cullen, will you explain the Fire Emblem triangle of how we assign homework? People die when they are killed. All right, Shiro Emiya, please keep going. So see, the problem with this is I thought we were on episode 2. We gotta like evolve. We have to iterate. Okay, so Fate Grand Order servant types. All right. Then you're gonna have to pick up this bit because I don't understand that. Okay, hang on. Let me. I need to make sure this is right. Fine. Sword beats axe, axe beats lance, lance beats sword.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
We switch it up who is what. And I think that's the confusing thing because you can't just switch classes like that. Well, I'm Lance. I always have to be Lance. No, but then everyone revolves around you and GC becomes sword and I become axe sometimes. There's no consistent characterization from this. Okay, so basically we assign each other homework, but we rotate, we spin in place, and then we point fingers at each other. And we point at a different person. Yes, and this week I am assigning homework to GC. GC assigns homework to me, and I assign homework to Kazuma. And chat, between you and me, that's how you get out of doing any work. you bitch a lot and then someone else has to do it.
Yeah. GC, I am giving you a bad time. A very bad time.
Oh, okay.
You're going to be playing Temple of Elemental Evil.
Huh?
What?
Yes, you're going to be playing Temple of Elemental Evil. You will need to install a mod to get this to work on your PC. I will send you all of the information and how to access the game.
Okay.
This is by far one of the hardest Dungeons and Dragons PC games to ever exist. I want you to get to the Moat House. You don't have to beat the Moat House. You need to get to the Moat House.
Okay. I can do this.
All right. That's it. Godspeed.
Whoa, the manual's 175 pages. Okay.
Temple of Elemental Evil.
Cullen,
Mm-hmm.
what are you assigning Kazuma?
Oh, no, that's not how that works.
Oh, I have to assign you something, don't I?
You have to, thrash out in anger.
But, like, what do I...
Oh,
what do I
you
give you?
didn't know yet. Okay, I can you want me to come back to you?
No. I can assign you something. I just need to figure out what it is that I'm going to assign you.
Then while you do that, I will attack Kazuma.
Mm-hmm.
Kazuma.
Mm-hmm.
Heads or tails?
Tails, because Tails Miles per hour is cool and afraid of lightning.
Okay. I am flipping a coin now. It was heads, so you have lost.
Okay.
I am very sorry.
Okay.
You must play Wallace and Gromit and Project Zoo for the PS2.
What? Why do you do this? Why do you assign games like this to me?
I don't know. I think it's funny.
Oh my god. Okay.
Because here's the thing. I don't know. There's nothing I can recommend you because you're so wise. So I have to find this fucking shovelware.
I'm so wise.
Yeah, you're well lived. It's
Hang
fucked.
on.
If you had won the coin flip, I would be like, play more Evergrace.
What's it called?
Wallace and Gromit and Project Zoo.
Oh, fucking Christ. Let me see if I can even find this first of all.
You will. I can send you it.
Then you have to send it to me because I cannot find it on my very cool legal connection.
Mine is better. That's why I can find it.
Okay, cool.
I have better hookups legally.
Okay, cool. All right.
Yep. Mhm.
Thanks for
Yeah.
putting me in hell. I won't
Yeah, go
forget
fuck yourself.
this. I won't forget this.
I know. You could have just picked heads.
Or you could have taken mercy on me.
Where's the fun in that?
That's true.
See, I kind of want to assign you another CRPG,
Okay.
but I don't think you'll... It just won't mesh well with you.
What is it?
I was gonna assign Cullen Warhammer Rogue Trader.
Ooh, he would hate that, especially because it's like really fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard Rogue Trader's fun though.
When it works.
Okay, yeah, I have also heard.
And there's a lot of reading.
Yeah. You probably like you like story, but you like when the story is like spoken to you. You don't like doing a lot of reading.
Damn, got called dumb on my own podcast.
You have a short attention span.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That is very true.
Instead, I'll give you something. I'll give you something easy, but that's just because I keep talking about it, and like you're never gonna do it unless I make you do it. I feel. I want you to watch 3 episodes of G Gundam.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I
go
can
watch
do it.
3 episodes of G Gundam. Take 2 of these and call me in the morning.
Oh, sick. Kazuma,
Yeah.
would you like another flip? If I were to
Yeah.
remove Wallace and Gromit from the board and instead assign you one of 2 things that you might actually enjoy, would that make you
Yeah.
happy?
Yeah.
Too bad.
Oh.
I'm kidding. I'm going to give this to you.
Okay.
I am doing what we call stalling for time. Because
Okay.
the thing is, I
Yeah.
You
don't...
realize you don't have to stall for time. I'll just cut the dead air out.
Well, GC, I appreciate that.
Like I'm doing it right now. I'm cutting the dead
You
air between your words.
would... That's going to sound like nonsense.
No, it's going to sound great because I'm good at my job.
You are good at your job. You're super good at your job.
Thank you.
You're kind of sick with it at your job. Anyway, heads or tails?
Let's do tails again. Oh, the silence.
Okay,
Yeah?
you got it.
Oh, okay. What did I get?
Do you like strategy RPGs?
Oh, I fucking love strategy games.
Play Front Mission first.
Okay, do we have it on Steam?
We do.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
I hope you enjoy it, genuinely.
Okay, yeah, I'll check it out. I'm installing it right now.
Oh, yeah.
I also installed Wallace and Gromit. I might actually play it and report on 2 games, depending on how free I am.
Yeah.
But as we have assigned each other homework, some more tolerable than the last, I'm genuinely sorry, GC. I'm genuinely sorry. You know, some of you have sent in comments to tell us
We have
how
a lot.
much you... We do?
Yeah.
How many comments do we have?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yes. Lock in. Fucking
Oh,
lock in. We're
fuck.
locking in.
Well, so the thing is, we want to paste those comments, remember? In case of... Oh,
we're
my
getting
God.
popular.
Are we
People
seriously?
love us. They fucking fuck with us so hard. People are chanting our names. Burnout culture. GC cool. He edit podcast. We like him. Woo.
Woo. Okay, so yeah, we're going to move into comments. I guess we're not saving any comments for next week.
Fuck it, because then we'll build a
Okay.
backlog and that'll suck.
Well, isn't that good in case of people stop being interested in what we have to say?
Because then people will be like, oh, they didn't answer my comment. I'm just not going to comment anymore. And you should always comment on Burnout Culture Podcast at gmail.com.
Excellent. Yeah.
For
yeah.
that, we
Yeah.
got some Twitter questions.
Oh, okay. Whoa. Okay, we got Twitter questions and emails.
Yeah. Well, mostly emails, but we got some Twitter questions.
Okay, cool. Let's go. Let's fucking rock it.
Cracking the back, cracking the wrist, cracking the phone. Shibuya Gato, the one and only, says, are there any games you've wanted to finish but never been able to for some reason? Awful gameplay segment, things got busy, hardware issue, etc. And then, as a little addition, with the Thousand Year Door remake coming soon, what games do you think should deserve the remake remaster treatment? I would like to jump in with the most vague answer possible.
Yes.
And just to say, hello, my name is Cullen.
Mm-hmm.
I have ADHD.
Yes.
Every game I've ever played.
That's okay. That's fair.
I, unfortunately, rarely finish games. While my brilliant co-hosts come up with reasons and I chime in on that, I will try to find a specific game that bums me out that I have not finished.
The game that I want to finish but never could, Icewind Dale 2, and that's because it was too hard for me as a kid. I just couldn't beat it. I had a fucked up party. There's no difficulty sliders, and I could just never beat the game because my child brain couldn't comprehend it. Amazing story, but just couldn't beat it. I'm now trying to beat it as an adult, still fucking up, killing myself by accidentally ingesting a flask of burning oil instead of throwing it, because that's what you can do. A game that I wish had a remake or remaster?
Remake or remaster, whatever you want. What's your ideal, like, revival?
See, I'm such a cynic because I know that when that happens, a series will get run into the ground, right?
Well, you don't have to be there for, like, the aftermath. You just take yours and you move on.
Yeah, but I hate damning a series to that. It's so... You know what? Give me Castlevania Lords of Shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. I would love to see Gabriel Belmont, Master of the Universe, fist fighting Satan in the body of his son, careening towards Earth on the back of a biblical Leviathan.
Hell yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
As for me, there's I've always wanted to. It's always a CRPG that I never finish, that I've always wanted to, but I just don't, either because my interest wanes or other games come out that take precedent, and like, yeah, stuff happens, or I lose interest because there's other games coming out, or I get busy and then I stop playing them. Shadowrun Hong Kong is one of those games. I keep wanting to go back to Shadowrun Hong Kong to finish it, but I always drop it before I'm done. And not even because I'm not interested. Other games come out that I want to play, and then by the time I'm ready to go back to Shadowrun Hong Kong, I've forgotten where I was, what I was doing, and I end up having to start over again. And then you get that fatigue of like, I got to start a new game, and I don't want to because I got to play through all these familiar segments and all that nonsense. As far as like a game that I want to get remade or remastered, Dragon Quest.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
I want Dragon Quest to get remade and remastered into the ground.
Yes, I think all of those games really need to be on all of the systems immediately.
Everything. Please remaster Dragon Quest for me. Please, 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 please. And if not Dragon Quest, I'm gonna throw out a curveball here. You can go ahead and remake Mass Effect. The first one.
Yeah, that game doesn't play well apparently.
Whoopie doody.
I quite like the first Mass Effect, but I would love to play a Mass Effect 1 that plays a lot more like the more recent ones, because as much as like I don't know how Andromeda is, but as much as I don't like some of the narrative elements of Mass Effect 2 and 3, I do think Mass Effect 2 specifically plays pretty well and holds up pretty well. So yeah, remake Mass Effect 1.
I have really wanted to get back to a game called Norco for a while, because that game seems really cool, but I just never like stick with it long enough. I have that problem where I'll like something a lot and then just struggle to keep playing it. There's probably so many instances of my friends being like, "Oh, you got to play this," and I'm like, "Yeah, sure," and I'll like buy it and stuff, and I'll like boot it up, and I'll just be like, "Oh, I can't. I can't like I cannot be sucked into this, and I don't know why." In terms of revivals, I'd really like to see a lot of older Suda51 games come back, like, you know, your fucking Moonlight Syndromes, your kind of a Dream remaster, but also something I don't necessarily want is my favorite game from him, Flower, Sun, and Rain. That's kind of really only in English on DS, so there should be a way to play that, but also I don't know if I want it, because I'm like, I have weird feelings about that game. And I like that the only version available is a really fucked up and mean DS port, because that's a fucked up and mean game, and you should just go out and play it anyway, regardless of if it's only on DS, because it's a cool ass fucking game. But thank you, Shibuya. Next is their display name is like Lozenge.
Yeah.
Lozange.
Yeah, like a throat lozenge.
Yeah, but I don't think that's spelled that way. But anyway.
Okay.
Their comment was, okay, big gay here. Question for Kazuma. Grew up with FF12 and Revenant Wings. Only actually finished FF12 recently and was already struck by how straight it was for a game with Balthier in it. Revenant Wings is compet? Why am I not remembering? It's been years.
So basically with Revenant Wings, they use that game to pair everybody off with each other. There's an entire chapter, like a whole segment of that game dedicated to Vaughn being jealous of Penelo interacting with a ghost. Like that is a plot point where he's like, I'm upset and there's a political conflict going on, but Penelo's my girlfriend now, and why is she talking to this ghost? Or that the whole original conflict started because this like Dalmascan guy fell in love with this Agile woman, and not an Agile, but Vieira that like lived in the mountains or whatever, like the really pale white Vieiras. So those are actually canon. So people being upset about them in Final Fantasy 14, oops, they exist in Evil East. Like all of it is like that, and like there's like suggestions of like Bosch and Ash getting together, which is weird because he's like 37 and she's like 19. And then Fran like basically like there's a whole segment where like Fran turns on your party to protect Balthier, so you fight them, and she's like, have you ever had a night with someone that you love that you wished would like never end? And it's like, okay, cool, I get it, everyone's fucking straight in this game, Jesus fucking Christ. And that's like the whole thing, is it's about like heterosexuality and the power of heterosexuality and love and shit, and it's just really annoying because like I love 12, and what I love about 12 is that there isn't a lot of like explicit heterosexuality. It's not like 8 where like, again, like Squall and Renoa are like the main fixture, and there's like a, you know, Squall and Cypher like Renoa, and they're both kind of like, I guess, you know, like following this romantic dream of being a sorcerer's knight. In 10, Tidus and Yuna have their whole moment, and I really like Tidus and Yuna as a couple. You have like Cloud and Aerith, and then Cloud and Tifa, and then Zack and Aerith in Final Fantasy VII. You have Garnet and Zidane in 9. So there's just this sort of like everybody ends up in a relationship with each other, and in Final Fantasy 12 it wasn't that way because they were too busy trying to dismantle an imperial power. Like, there are suggestions of, Balthier and Fran, being in like a situationship or partnership or whatever, but that's not the focal point of the game. The focal point of the game is colonialism and how it impacts people's lives through like various generations. And that's why I like 12. Gabranthan 12 is actually my favorite character because as someone who's like, okay, sorry, I'm going to go on a 12 rant now. Is this okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Wait, are there spoilers? I actually want to finish 12.
Not major spoilers, no. Just about like identity. It's about identity, right?
Or?
Like you already know that like Bosch is a twin brother, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so his twin brother Gabranth. So basically, like their land was, their country, the Republic of Landis, was colonized by the Empire. Bosch went to Dalmasca to basically like try to get help. Obviously, he's a kid. He's 13 years old when he does that. That's not how this shit works. Gabranth stays behind to care for their dying mother, hates Bosch for leaving, ends up working his way through the military to become a judge, right? And he and his brother, they're half Landisian and half Arcadian. And this game deals with like being biracial in a way that's actually tangible, that isn't like, oh, my mother was a cat and my father was a human, so I'm a cat girl. It's very like, Gabranth is basically the leader of the fucking CIA. And when he's talking to the Emperor, right, who he is like spying for, like doing like dubious shit for, committing war crimes for, he's like, oh, but you're still Landisian above being Arcadian, despite Gabranth being half Arcadian and doing all this dubious shit. Like there's actual like nuance there as to like what it means to have that identity and like fold into the oppressor that has colonized you and oppressed you.
Yeah.
And like what that means in terms of like coming from like that place of like being colonized and everything, right? Like that choice you make to then fold into that. And like Vaughn and Pinello, they're fucking orphans because of colonialism, because of Dalmasca being colonized. Bosch has no home country. His country is gone. Landis is fucking eviscerated off the planet. You can't even find the remains of Landis anymore. Balthier is someone who was part of the system. Fran's entire livelihood and like her way of life is being threatened by colonialism and the imperial system of Arcades, right? So like that entire game is focused on that, as opposed to, I can't believe the girl I like isn't paying attention to me because of a dead guy. Like it's so stupid. Sorry, I just
that's like a huge downgrade.
Yes.
Like it just becomes novella nonsense.
Yeah. And like even with Ash, like her, so here's the thing with 12 is that you really have to sit and think about these character interactions because Ash is like, oh, my like husband, the king, was killed and my relationship with him is the reason I have to do this. She's using her relationship as a front to go and murder the people that colonized her country. At some point, it stops becoming about Rassler and more about her just wanting to hurt people. So, like, you have to interrogate the relationships everybody has with each other and their reasons for doing these things, right? Like, Vaughn and Pinello aren't explicitly in a relationship. They're just childhood friends, right? Like, Bosch goes off and does Bosch shit. I can't say what he does because spoilers, right? Like nobody gets paired up at the end of 12. But in Revenant Wings, everybody fucking gets paired up. And I hate that. I hate that as a fucking gay person because it means that in the face of what is canon, everything is explicitly denied. And that's also why I like Resident Evil, because there are really no canon relationships in that. And as like a queer person, like whose first fandom was Resident Evil, there was a lot of exploration in those communities for queerness that wouldn't be shot down by fans because nothing is either confirmed or denied. But yeah, anyways, Revenant Wings, heterosexuality, it's really compet.
Cool. All right. On to emails. Let's see. Snigs says, hey, Burnout buddies, been having a fun time with work-related burnout recently. I wanted to know, what are some of your comfort games besides Sonic? It was added here.
Besides Sonic.
Fuck you, buddy. Deeper question. Have you ever had to take an extended break from something you used to enjoy / fan out over due to changing tastes or depression, anxiety, whatever? I used to be a huge speculative fiction fan, sci-fi / fantasy, I haven't been able to dive into it for the past couple years for one reason or another. Now I just read a bunch of shoujo slash josei light novels, and I think my brain is melting. LN or other book recommendations are welcome. I love that our audience is like, yeah, I want these people to talk about this for like an hour.
Yeah.
You're we're supposed to be making GC feel appreciative, not like making him
grinding him into the dust.
Yeah, not edit 12-hour podcast episodes. So stop sending us good questions.
No, keep sending us good questions.
Yeah.
I'll just edit everything down. It's fine.
Yeah, I appreciate that we get these questions because it means that people actually value our advice and our recommendations for media. So thank you for sending that question in, like, legitimately. So I'll lead this question. I actually have like pretty severe mental illness. I take medication for it. No, I'm not kidding.
I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking about the concept of like power scaling our mental illness.
Yeah. Well, let me put it this way. If I don't take
the best mental illness out of everyone.
If I don't take my meds, I don't fucking sleep and I don't eat. It's fucking awful. And I can't do anything except for hyperfixate on like 60-year-old men. It's pretty terrible.
Who do you think, like, if we were to rate our mental illness between the three of us, like, who do you, from like most to least, where would you go?
I would be the worst.
No, but like rate all three of us.
I think
we'll go in a circle.
It would be me at the top for reasons that I will not disclose. And then, oh man, so you have like really bad ADHD. I think it would be like you and then G. No, I think it would be me, GC, then you. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, GC, you go.
I don't know. I would put myself at the bottom. I don't think.
Okay, I'm sorry, GC.
I don't know. Like,
GC's like, I don't want to do this. I feel bad.
Yeah, I do. Like,
oh no, I'm extremely mentally ill. It's fine. I'm really.
I agree with Kazuma.
I'm sick. Yeah.
I would agree with your assessment. I just like cause like I'm also medicated and stuff like that. So like I'm like, I don't know. I've been on my meds for long enough that I've somewhat forgotten what I'm like when I'm not on my meds. So I have like no frame of reference at this moment in time.
I'm not on any medication, so I'd say I agree with Kazuma's assessment.
Okay, cool. Anyways, back to mental illness. Okay, we're done with mental illness power scaling, but so like I take a lot of medication to keep myself stable, to make sure that I'm working and can work and basically, like exist as a human being. So I understand like mental illness being a huge factor into not being able to enjoy things. Sometimes I have periods where like I legitimately like I play something or I engage with something and I feel nothing. And that's when I watch like things. That's why I'm watching Game of Thrones again, man. Like I don't necessarily like it. I don't necessarily hate it, but it's something to have on in the background that like slightly stimulates my brain when there is good dialogue, right?
It's kind of like the stuff that you fall back to. Like it's just the idea of a genre that makes you happy, like the comfort food version of what you kind of need to just relax after like a really stressful day. No, I get it.
Yeah, but if you've like burned yourself out, like for example, like you mentioned, listener, that you used to really enjoy something and you just can't get back into it. I suggest seeking out different forms of media or things that you might have not considered to interact with, right? It will surprise you. For me, it was... God, what was it? It was reading all those R.F. Kuang novels. I was like, damn, books can be good again. Jesus Christ. Like right now, I mentioned earlier, I'm reading this autobiography of Hans Holbein the Younger, and it's basically documenting his life as being a court painter for King Henry VIII and how like terrifying it was at some point because everyone was dying, getting beheaded and shit, and has like a full collection of his works inside of it, and just like sampling things and seeing what sticks and what doesn't, and if it doesn't stick, just setting it aside and trying to find something new. That's the only real advice that like I can give, because at some point you will be able to go back and reapproach those things that you have been burnt out on with enough time. So I believe that you will enjoy speculative fiction again. I do believe that will happen. It will just take time.
I think my comfort game is like Final Fantasy X.
Oh, we had a comfort game? I don't have a comfort game.
Well, you're never comfortable.
Yeah, I sit in a Herman Miller chair and I am the most uncomfortable person on the planet.
My back hurts so fucking much right now in my garbage Office Depot chair. And you're over there, it's like, I'm not comfortable in my Herman Miller. Oh, I'm like, I'm gonna strangle you. Oh, it's gonna. You're gonna like forget this conversation happened, and then like in the moments where my like hands are around your throat when we meet up next, you will then remember this as your life fucking passes out of your body.
GC, as he's killing me, take a picture so that he can post it on Twitter.
Oh yeah,
I got
you. Okay. And what about you, GC? What's your comfort?
My comfort game, I don't really have. I guess I do. I guess it's gotta be Stardew Valley, Dragon Quest VIII, and Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. Those are my comfort games. I can go back to those when I really need something to sort of bounce back from and whatnot. As far as like media that I've been burnt out of, I used to watch a lot of television. Like I used to watch a lot of television, and I am just unable to sit down and watch anything now. Like that's like I used to binge watch like Star Trek like all the time. I finished TNG. I got a few seasons into Deep Space Nine, and I just stopped, and I was like, I just can't do this anymore. Like I can't sit here and just watch television. Like I do not want, like I need to do something with my hands. I need to more like actively interact with something if I'm going to do it. And that's why like largely a lot of like what I do now is just play video games. Like as my like video games is like largely the only media I interact with recently, because like I watched way too much television when I was younger, and like even up until like I was like 24 or whatever, I was just exclusively watching television.
Oh man.
And it was just too much.
Yeah, I feel like I'm on the opposite spectrum where I'm playing too many games, and now I'm just like watching TV, but I'm also like taking notes as I'm like watching television to stimulate my brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely if you want to fix burnout with like one particular thing, just go
in the opposite direction.
Go in the opposite direction. Go watch a movie. Go
read a book.
Go play all of the 3D Sonic games.
Yeah, go do that.
Go bowling. Go mini golfing.
Go outside. Yeah, going outside actually really helps. I started going on walks. Outside. Oh my god. Or you know what? Meet up. If you have friends in your area, nothing is better than going out with your friends, either for like a walk, meeting up to go have brunch.
Go get wings.
Yeah.
Go to B-Dubs and eat some wings.
Oh yeah, even oh my god. Oof. That's like the Midwest like bonding ritual. You go to B-Dubs and you get wings.
Oh, fuck up some B-Dub wings right now.
Oh my god, I want those chicken crispers though. I haven't had any yet.
You gotta.
I gotta get those crispers.
You gotta get your crisp on.
But yeah, so hopefully that answers your question. If it doesn't, I'm sorry. But yeah, just give it time and, go outside, experience things. Go to a bookstore, check out some books, go to the cinema,
Go window shopping. You ever gone window shopping? You ever just gone out to like the mall and just walked around the stores? Do that. You'd be surprised you'd be surprised like how refreshing and revitalizing it is just to just be out and do that. Take yourself out on a date if you don't got anybody to do it with.
Yeah, and also if you're like, oh, it's gonna be really lonely, maybe it's embarrassing to go out on your own, just put your like headphones in and just listen to your favorite music and just go for a walk and just imagine yourself doing things. Be the main character of your own story.
Yeah. Go for I like going for runs at the park. I need to have more time to do that. I ran out of time recently, but I'm gonna start going back to the park soon because I love being at the park. I love going for a walk at the park. No dog boy comment, Kazuma? Damn, you're really falling off.
Arf, arf.
I literally like teed that up for you and everything.
Well, fine. Okay, dog boy. Hey, Jake, draw Cullen with dog ears.
Jake, don't do that. I know you're a cool one.
He made you like a super hot dog boy before.
All right, Jake, you might be allowed to do that. I have wolf ears now for my time at Great Wolf Lodge when I
that's so cute.
It's I'm kind of sick with it. I won't lie.
Oh my god, that's so cute. Please draw Cullen as a wolf boy. That's actually really cute.
Only in my Sonic shirt though. You have to I'm not taking anything else. Or as requested from my friends who watched Gundam SeeD with me. Draw me as Shin Asuka.
Okay.
I'll leave that one with you.
All right. Is this our like hater episode?
I guess.
So yeah, GC, what do you hate?
What do I hate?
Yeah.
Draw GC as Sora.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, draw GC as Sora, draw Cullen as Shin Asuka, and draw me in that as Gabriel Belmont from Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2.
You know you love him secretly.
No, you have no idea how fucking much I hated that fucking game when it came out.
Fair.
Oh my god. When Jake is on the podcast at some point, he can explain. But yeah, next question.
All right. Hello, I hope you're having a good podcast recording. I think we've been given some pretty vile energy, but thanks for your well wishes. I've been really enjoying your podcast so far, and you've all given some very interesting answers to all the different questions. My question was inspired by a short song and video called I Wish I Could Wear Hats by Brian David Gilbert. So this is my music recommendation as requested in the first episode. The video presents contradictory feelings and self-consciousness about how to present oneself to others quite vividly, I think, and it resonated with my own thoughts and difficulties in the matter. So, what are some ways you have found your ways of self-expression, style of clothing, or general demeanor in different public or private contexts? Best, Phoenix FH. The FH can be silence. Well, Oenix FH, I really appreciate your question.
Phoenix is actually really sweet. I've met up with Phoenix several times. They're really, really, really nice.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, Phoenix, thank you for sending your question. You're a real one. Who wants to start with self-expression? Is it going to be you, Dog Boy, with your wolf figures and your Sonic shirt?
I really like wearing ripped jeans, baggy t-shirts, and like I have like a chain bracelet and a chain necklace. I basically try to dress as young as physically possible. It sounds a bit vapid. I very much care about how I am presented in public, which is why I'm trying so hard to like eat as good as possible and like exercise and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Because I fear death. And I realize that the past I was not able to express myself as much as I had wished, and I had a really bad fashion sense. So I like wearing band shirts. I like wearing big Sonic shirt. I have like an Emerald jacket. I like wearing things that are like flashy, I guess, but not like garishly so. I don't know. I like nice shirts. I like nice clothes. It is one of the things that I do like doing for myself is like buying a really cool shirt. Kazuma, I think you'd appreciate this one shirt. I have like this one shirt I got in DC. It's got like holes in it, but like creatively in spots. And it's just like, I like wearing weird things. I'm not breaking any grounds or anything, but I like to dress a bit flashy. Depending on the time, I do like my girlfriend when she like does my nails, like with like black nail polish. I think that looks kind of cute. I don't do it as much because I work at an office and I don't want people to be like weird, but I don't know. I've done it before and I actually do really like it.
Okay.
I'm basically, I missed my emo goth phase, and I am just living that now as a 27-year-old man.
All right.
What about you, GC?
So the question was, what is like the sort, like what are the like inspirations for why we express ourselves the way we do or whatever?
Yes.
You'd be surprised what a bad breakup will do to one, buddy.
Oh, no.
No, like, so I had a really bad breakup in my first relationship. It did not go well. One of the things that I really got really introspective with it. And I was like sort of figuring out like, what did I do wrong? What could I have done better? And there was a lot, straight up. There was a lot that I could have done better. There was a lot that I could have been better about. Mm-hmm. And one of those things was sort of like how I took care of myself and how I dressed. So after that breakup, I was like, how do I want to express myself? How do I want to dress? And I kind of came to this conclusion that I really like earthy tones and that I really enjoy cardigans. So a lot of my outfits are very like muted colors or earthy tones, like grays and stuff like that. And like,
you literally dress like an uncle. Like it wasn't a bit earlier. It's like you dress dependable and well put together.
Yeah. I do try to dress like
You're
I do
classy.
try to yeah, I try to dress comfortable, but I do like going out and trying on outfits and stuff. One of the things I'm trying to get into more is wearing shorts because I have nice legs because I used to be a soccer player, but I don't like I don't like wearing shorts. Like I don't own a lot of shorts because
I like wearing jeans.
Pants. Yeah, I prefer jeans and like chinos. Actually, I started wearing chinos after that breakup. Like I started like buying clothes that fit me, stuff like that. Before that, I mean, I used to dress all over the place. I wouldn't even try to match like my colors or anything like that. But yeah, that's sort of like that. I've recently gotten into wearing beanies because I'm bald now and it burns my head when I go outside and I don't want to put on sunscreen every time I go out. So it's either hats or beanies for me. And beanies are nice. I bought 2 of them that are like really slick. They're not like woolly beanies. They're not like cotton beanie. They're not like stitched beanies. They're like these cotton. They're almost like t-shirts for your head kind of beanies. So I've been getting into that. And lately I've been using my blue light glasses as a fashion statement. Mm-hmm. So I wear that, and yeah, that's generally me. I know there was a second part to that question, but I don't remember what it was.
No, it was just, what are some of the ways you have found like to express yourself, style of clothing, or general demeanor in public or private?
Oh yeah, and then general demeanor. Three people: Mr. Rogers, Luffy from One Piece, and Wolverine from X-Men.
Wolverine.
Yeah, bub.
Whoa. When it comes to me, I don't like wearing things that are branded because I think it's tacky. I don't know. I don't like having fun. I just wear a lot of black. But mostly in terms of like self-expression, it is through clothing. So I'll find things that I want to wear that are, and this is going to sound really corny, but really obvious, inspired by like characters that I like in media. So there was, again, that entire year I dressed like a vampire because why the fuck not? I was like, I want to look like a fucking Castlevania character, so I just wore loads of just crushed black velvet and like leather trousers and knee-high boots and stuff because I guess that's just what I wanted to wear. And you're never too old to wear whatever you want. Other than that, things that drape well, because I'm actually very self-conscious of how I look. I'm a very shy, insecure person, believe it or not, and I basically just want to feel good when I go outside. So I'll buy clothing that I think fits the way that I look and the way that I want to present myself in terms of self-expression.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it used to be like a lot of ripped jeans and everything and more of my stomach showing. But as I've gotten older and gained weight, and testosterone makes you gain weight too, I dress more conservatively now, I say. As I'm going to the goth club this weekend and wearing a corset.
You know, I'd say you're the real goth of the trio.
Yeah.
I relinquish that, and I will instead take the mantle of dresses like a fuckboy.
Well, you say that, but so I'm getting back into cosplay, also as like self-expression and fun, and I'm cosplaying Scott Summers from X-Men Evolution, and I own 3 different green cardigans now, so I'm like leaning into like dressing like a really stuck up, pretentious like college student now.
God, you really are like GC.
But that's because I wasn't sure which green sweaters to get, and I like them all, and they're all really comfortable, and it's really cold in California for some reason right now. But when it comes to demeanor, living in Germany really shaped me. I used to be, well, if like, again, ask Jake, he's not here, but like I used to not talk a lot about myself, not share what I liked or engage with other people and things, and just overall be way more reserved. And living in Germany really changed that because, and this is something that people will definitely disagree with, because it really depends like where you're from in Germany, but German people are really straightforward. And that's why I'm like really honest and upfront about how I feel about things, because when you're in an environment where people will just sort of be like, yeah, I don't vibe with you, like right off the bat, you're like, oh, okay, well, I understand, I guess. So that has more or less changed my demeanor to where I'm more forthcoming about my opinion and about how I feel about things or how I feel about people. Yeah, I don't know. Being in Germany made me a more, I wouldn't say honest person, but more direct person.
I don't really think I'm that different in public or private.
You're the same.
I kind of when I'm in public, I will struggle to be as nice. I mean, I try to be nice to everybody, but like I will struggle to not be as I guess blatant about what I feel. But yeah, no, I'm basically the same everywhere.
Yeah.
There's not really like a difference between me out and about versus me like talking to my friends. Is what you see is what you get, which is why I love Sonic the Hedgehog.
And you know what? Your love of Sonic and how you express that is really cool. Like,
Just
I feel
me
like
for real.
Yeah, I feel like you and I are the opposite sides of the fashion spectrum, where you like wear what you like on your sleeve, and I'm just like, if you know, you know.
To be fair,
Yeah.
that big Sonic shirt I got is not what I usually wear.
Okay.
I typically find like fucking nerd shirts to be like really lame. Like when it's just like logo, character, I just find that like really tacky. I like wearing things that have like very like intent artistic designs to them. Like when you know when that Uniqlo Final Fantasy collab came out and everyone was like, this is lame. Why is like the Final Fantasy 10 shirt got just a random art on the back? And
that's so inspired though. Like as a piece of as a piece of design, that's really good.
That's the kind of shit I love to wear, where it's like, it's not obvious, but if you know, you know. Like, I got the SMT5 bomber jacket when they sold that, and you can literally not tell that's SMT5 branded. It's just got a series of like blue and white flowers like all over it, and like a fucking like pentagram on like the front and as like small spot.
So like when I went to the Armored Core event for Bamco, they gave us Armored Core jackets, and it was really cool because the only thing on the jacket that was branded was the fact that it had patches from the military organizations on it.
I'm so jealous. That jacket seems fucking sick.
It's fucking awesome. Jake has it.
Do they sell it?
No.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I gotta kill Jake now and steal
Okay.
it.
All right, Jake, you're toast. Cullen's gonna kill you.
All right, Jake. We'll watch some episodes of MILF Manor before I do the deed. You'll at least be given that courtesy.
Yes. But hopefully that answered your question, Phoenix. If not, write us another question and be like, you didn't answer my question. Please respond.
With the second one, be a bit more mean. Be like, dear hacks, die.
What's our next question?
Our final question of ever, because this is the end of the podcast as you know it.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
After our second episode, we will cancel and do a series of prequel episodes, and the continuity will get all over the place from here on.
Okay.
But Pi writes in, hey, Burnout Gang. Recently, I finished my first playthrough of Final Fantasy VI, and the second half of the game blew me away with the switch to a non-linear free experience. I enjoyed this so much that it got me to start a game I've had for years but never booted up. SaGa Scarlet Grace.
Ooh.
My propaganda is working slowly but surely. My question to you is, what is a gaming experience that has opened you up to a specific genre, gameplay style, etc., that you may have overlooked or just didn't know existed before getting sucked into it? I really like, oh god, what is that fucking card game deck builder roguelike that I always talk about? No, I don't fuck with that. GC, you know the one, right? I've tried to get you to play it like multiple times.
Inscription.
I do not fuck with card games. I do not like them. They never click with my brain and it always hurts and I don't get it. But Inscription made me want to go out and buy like a packet of like a foil packet of trading cards for just something, just to experience opening a pack of cards, because I used to be into cards and I don't like them anymore. But I felt the need to go collect cards and play like other card games. I have not done that. I have shown self-control and I've saved my life, but it sparked a little thing in my brain.
What about you, GC?
Yeah, GC.
For me,
what's your Ratatouille moment?
My Ratatouille moment. It's not really a Ratatouille moment.
I know. I was making sure you were paying attention.
Yeah. I think this is not like the first example, but it's definitely one of the examples. I think Hades actually opened me up to more roguelikes. I wasn't really like big on the genre before Hades, and then I played Hades and I was like, this is incredible. Wow. I want to play more things like this. And I think after I played Hades, I went and I played a bunch of like roguelike deck builders. So I played Slay the Spire and stuff like that.
Okay.
Cool.
That makes sense because Hades is, in terms of roguelite, I think it's a roguelike that actually had pretty big narrative substance by comparison to everything else out on the market at the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. The only other game I could think of that's like that is like Moonlighter. So,
Yeah. What about you, Kazuma?
It's weird because I'm like kind of in the middle of like one of those weird like, you know, mental illness things where like media doesn't affect me or games don't really affect me the way that they used to. So I'm trying to like dredge up memories of like when something made me feel a way.
How about I will give you 3 genres and you pick the first game that you played or that you remember playing in all of them.
Okay.
Because that must have inspired you to play more.
Okay.
And you will do your best to be positive vibes only.
Okay.
You will cosplay as me for about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Action games.
Let's go. Devil May Cry 3.
What about it did you fall in love with?
Devil May Cry 4. Dante Hot. Game really fun.
What about its action combat like made your brainworms activate?
Dante Hot.
That's valid.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but that's like super valid.
No,
Dante in that game is super hot. I think that's also part of why I'm into older dudes. Oh my god, like if I think about it, I'm like, oh shit.
I'm gonna keep a tally of how many of this is just guy hot.
Yeah. Okay.
MMORPGs.
Lineage 2.
What guy was hot?
I really didn't care about guy hot in that game. It was the fact that it was so community focused and you had to communicate with people. Go back and listen to our episode that had Lineage 2 in it if you're listening to this for the first time. But that game was the Wild West of MMOs. Like the experience of being there was unparalleled. Just living in constant fear, having to communicate with other players and collaborate or team up with people you otherwise wouldn't have just to fucking survive.
Constant Fear is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can I actually give the third one?
Sure. Yes. Absolutely.
Horror.
Resident Evil remake for the GameCube. And you know what? I will say, that game definitely like changed a lot of how I viewed media in general because it again sparked that curiosity that we talked about last episode where I was like, I need to know more. And then I started doing deep dives. And then I ended up writing an entire article for Polygon about the themes of the Resident Evil series. Yeah, it was Resident Evil. Yeah, Resident Evil remake for the GameCube. Yeah.
That'll do it.
You got that positivity in there.
Okay. Yeah.
You just need to be strapped down and forced to just talk about it.
Dante Hot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of hater, I hated Chris Redfield so much.
In Resident Evil remake?
Throughout all of it, I fucking hated Chris.
Yeah, he's lame.
Now I love Chris. Chris is my husband. He's on the wall of husbands.
They gave him fat tits.
No, that's not why. I hated him. No, I actually loathed him in 5. I was like, I fucking hate this guy. Can't stand him.
Okay.
Ugh. And then
what other game? So you like him in 6?
Because he had a boyfriend and it was really sad and I cried a little bit.
He had... How fat were his boobs?
They weren't, because he's like in his late 40s, so he's kind of like he's not like RE5 Chris.
Yeah, but in 8, he has like massive boobs.
I don't care about him in 8.
You like Chris Redfield, Cullen like Sonic the Hedgehog, and they're voiced by the same guy.
Not anymore, and that makes me
Not
so
my
sad.
Sonic.
That's so sad. He's so
What do you mean
good
not?
as Chris.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he's so good
He
as
is good
Chris.
as Chris.
He's really good.
I will say Roger Craig Smith is a really good Sonic, but my guy is Jason Griffith.
Guess what? GC, you also like Assassin's Creed, and he's Ezio.
Oh shit!
Oh,
Yeah.
Roger Craig Smith, come on to our podcast. See, that's like I'm manifesting vibes. I'm throwing it out into the ether.
You're manifesting this podcast becoming big.
Yeah, it's got to be big. I got to be able to rest on my laurels. I am not the kind of person who should be working his entire life. I say let's make a content house and just burn through a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
I have not thought any more than that. I would just like to have a lot of money and then burn it.
In a fireplace.
In a fireplace.
All right.
Well, if you want to achieve your dreams of grandeur, where can people find you?
Well, now that I have come back from the dead, I'm willing to promote myself.
Okay.
You find me at Cullen on YouTube, Dr. Cullen PhD on Twitch and Twitter. But you should go back on YouTube because this week I put out 2 videos. And I think they're very good. And I think you should watch them and you should share them. One is on the Apollo Justice Trilogy, and the other is on Crow Country, which is very good. Good little indie game. And I'm very sorry, Crow Country, that I was not able to gas you up because I had to get the Haterade out.
Go watch the video for Cullen's fantastic opinion and breakdown of Crow Country at Cullen on YouTube.
Or at Cullen, technically.
Cullen, okay, yeah.
The I is
or just do
capital.
Dr. Cullen PhD, because he has a PhD.
Probably,
and being a hater.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a hater. But
A
I'm
professional hater degree.
A bit too, I minored in EP, and that's what I'm feeling right now.
Okay, well, you can't find me anywhere because I don't exist.
Are we switching roles?
Yes. GC,
All
you
right.
plug.
Okay, I actually am going to plug myself. You can find me at GC Vasquez on everything. I am GC Vasquez everywhere. I am GC__ Vasquez on Twitter. Otherwise, it's just GC Vasquez, and I'll have a video coming out next week that you can go watch. It's on Dragon Quest Monsters Joker 1 and 2.
What day next week is it dropping?
Friday.
Ooh.
Friday.
GC Peak Day. Let's fucking go. I'm excited to listen to it.
It'll be it's all right. I think it's very thoughtful, but it's not very funny. So I want to get silly with it soon. I want to make a silly video soon. I've been doing too many thoughtful pieces. I need something goofy.
Floygan Bros.
Yeah. Anyway, you can also find us at, I don't know our social, so someone's gonna have to take over for this one.
It's gonna be Burnout Pod.
We have Burnout Cult on Twitter, Burnout Culture on YouTube, Burnout Culture on Spotify, because that's probably where you're listening to this right now. I don't know, man. I'm not your dad. And you can email us at Burnout Culture, Burnout Culture Podcasts at gotobed.gov.
Yeah.
Burnout Poultry.
Yeah.
Burnout Poultry.
Oh no, our rotisserie chickens, they're burnt.
Help, our nuggies are cooked.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. And yeah, definitely feel free to send those questions. And we'll see you next time. And hopefully GC won't be ground into dust.
I won't be. It'll be fine.
All right. You say that. And Cullen,
Mm?
let's try to find something that sparks joy in you.
Well, I will, because I get to watch G Gundam.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Shining finger. Na, 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 na. I don't remember the rest of the words.
Play us out, Domo.
Yeah.
I want to say that Gundam SeeD is a dipshit idiot show for dipshit idiots.
I mean, you can say that.
I can say that.